We surprised everyone.
Going live
Ha!
early. Surprise! Mother truckers, we're making stools. Like the chair kind.
We are assembling
Yeah.
items for sitting.
This is the pre-show where we build some chairs so we can actually sit down without making, well, we can sit down on things that work. For another 6 months, we will actually have chairs that function. Although, okay, I must buy. These are going to suffer the same failure mode.
I will be honest though, we did a decent amount of time on those ones.
Yeah. However, I still say that if I
It would
buy
have been
some
longer
yeah,
with
if
washers.
I buy some nice big washers, or actually failing that, looking at the way these go together, I don't actually think these have screws that go through in the same way as the old ones do, that would pull through the metal in the way that the old ones did. So they might be immune to the particular failure mode that those stools had.
They've just got the cheapest welding.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
at least do the full width.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's pretty bad.
And
Because the bolts are going through these, theoretically this is functioning as a washer, so the bolt isn't just going to pull into the metal.
yeah, it's not going to compress the
Yeah.
tube part.
And thus that means that I can actually tighten the bolts as much as I can,
Yes.
which means they won't go wobbly, which then stresses the welds.
Yes.
So, yeah. Huzzah.
Indeed, yes. I can see how that could function as a washer.
Yes. So yes, hello. We are going early. Damn, they're even early. We sure are. And
Absolutely. We're here, and boy, do we have some content for you.
welcome to the show where you guys are going to watch us, well, watch me do some work, possibly, maybe. Anyway. Right, hang on a sec, be noisy a sec. Yes, welcome everyone. So which brand did you buy this time? The same ones as last time, however I've got the round top versions because the legs go outwards rather than straight down, so I think they'll be a bit more stable.
Also, how do you pronounce the brand name? Vasagal?
Vasagal.
Vasagli?
I don't have any other jokes.
I was about to.
This is why when Si said what brand did you get, I said the same one as last time, because I don't even know what brand the old ones were, but they look the same as the old ones.
Yes.
But it could have been anything. The brand could have changed a dozen times by now, because that's what happens.
I was going to say the name is, possibly reasonably similar to that one, product that gets advertised on the TV for female problems.
So we've got new chairs, and once again I bought cheap ones because I'll buy nice stools when I see ones that are reasonably priced and actually look like they'll be meaningfully better. Because if you spend this set was £40, but if you spend £60, you get something that's the same thing, but it's got a little bit some more padding on the seat, and I'm like, that doesn't make it stronger, and I could just put a cushion on it. But it's still going to fail in 6 months. So no, I'm not going to spend another £20.
See, what you need now with these is you need to get sponsored by some random tat shifter from China and get one of those really cheap spot welders.
Yeah.
And just spot weld your chairs. Do you know how to make sure your chair is strong? Weld it up yourself.
Yep, you need to learn how to weld. Unironically, I would like to learn basic welding if I could have a small welding thing or something like that, because it's like knowing how to solder. There are so many just small repairs which are there are just so many small things that need fixing, where if you had the ability to weld, it would just be a non-issue, because even if you can't weld well, even if you do horrible jobs, you could still it's like being able to hot glue metal back together, kind of thing.
With approximately the same strength if you have a bad weld.
Well, I suppose, yeah, but right, I'm just unpacking everything, and I'm doing it very carefully because I'm trying not to rustle the bags loudly. So,
yes. This is where you need your grounding strap.
Oh, right, yeah.
All the polystyrene and all of the plastic bags.
Okay, right. I think that's the bag sorted, so there is no more rustling. Now we can assemble. Right. So, we are now here, everyone. Oh, that's from something else. Yeah.
Ah, yes.
That's
These screws from a water cooler.
Oh, I don't know.
They will help me with my...
The screws just breed in here. So, yeah. Okay, right. Hello, everyone. We will... So, we've got a show for you today.
Yes.
What are you trying... Oh, I see. I mean, do we need the bench cam in order to show the assembly of the stools?
Not specifically, but I was just seeing whether here...
Oh, I see
I
what
couldn't
you mean,
remember
yeah.
where the edge was. I was just like, oh yes. But also, look at how nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Bench cam is set up and we've got it sideways, so it's not just in front of the bench anymore for once. Well, I mean, we did that last week, but...
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay, right. Anyway, so I've got just a load of oddball repairs to do today, and so I figured that we'd do those while we were nattering. So yeah. However, first we have new stools to make, so we're going to make these while we natter. So I'm going to unpack some screws, and then we can loose fit these screws. Bar stool for a viewing cider. Hell yeah. Yeah, well, we've got the square top version of these stools, but those are breaking up. So yeah, trying to do this one. That's terrible, but that's now 2 of them. I'm going to use the actual screwdriver in a minute. Right, there are some long boys and there are some short boys. What do we need the long boys for?
Right. There is a long one labelled 48, and 48 goes into the base of the stool.
Okay. Yeah, so we should have 8 of these then, which we do.
Yes. And then the short ones go into all of the other ones, basically.
Okay. Very well. Right, and what order do they say to do it in? Okay, they say to start from the base. Yeah, okay, so...
Yes.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to... What fits these screws? They will answer to a...
They will answer to Jeff.
A hex 4. His name is Jeff. All right. Okay. Let's see. Having an interesting issue with Wi-Fi on a computer using a AX1800 USB. Switching between Wi-Fi networks causes the network list to disappear and reappear, and login failures. What brand is this nano adapter?
Oh, you'll kind of want a washer there, won't we?
Yeah. It's not going to be too bad because this is just securing the top.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could start crushing that in. If I just kept going, I would just start bending that metal in. Thanks, guys. Oh, that goes on that side, yeah.
A stool with legs on 2 sides.
Shush. Shush.
So it very much becomes a perching stool. So interesting little thing is a tangent off of that. Back when in the old days when they needed someone to sit and monitor a thing, they would supply them with a 2-legged stool. It was a 3-legged stool where 1 leg had been removed.
Okay.
So the person had to be awake to be stable on it.
Yes.
And if they fell asleep, they then fell over
off.
and woke up. I was just like, I quite like that as a solution.
Oh yeah, that's working. Yep. All right. Another USB adapter does not have the issue. Yeah, it sounds like a bad USB adapter then, in that case.
Does it do the thing with another computer as well? Because whilst obviously that doesn't fix the issue, it's just interesting to know if it's usable or not.
That's the wrong left. That's also the wrong left. That's the right left. There we go.
Right, left, right?
Yes. It's your other left. I've got it. I'm sensing a severe lack of faith. I'm also agreeing with Sai that we should have built the frames first instead of screwing to the bottom of the stool, but whatever.
I mean, we have two. We can test both methods. We can engage in science. I'm sure
true.
somewhere around here I can even find a clipboard.
This is true. Also, are these middle bits handed? No, it's just a bad design. Can't imagine that, but yeah. Okay. CC, DD. Oh yeah, they're not marked as different anyway. They are slightly different. They're just not marked as such. I think anyway. Whatever.
What?
Ignore me. Ignore me. I'm waffling.
That bit is a different part to that bit.
Yes.
And one of them is labelled C and one of them is labelled D.
Yes, I was wondering because like these two are not identical. Oh wait, no, they will be. Why did the other ones not seem to look like they fitted then? I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway, I probably should have another coffee in a moment. How do you get a screwdriver in that gap? You don't. That's the neat part. You don't. So
With a careful
I think I'm
application
going to,
of sideways force.
yeah, I'm going to use the stupid thing that comes with it. Let's see. All right, we need more questions while we build stools because we've got nothing to generate the. We've got to build the stools first. Highly recommend you invest in 2 good office chairs. The problem is that these aren't desks; these are workbenches. So an office chair isn't high enough, and also I'm constantly getting up and sitting down, which means an office chair is annoying. So yeah, that's why I use stools, because I'm constantly getting up and sitting down. I don't. If it was a desk where I was sitting at the same desk for hours at a time, sure. That one's knackered anyway, so it doesn't go any
That one
higher.
won't go up. I was about to try and put it all the way up just to see a height comparison.
Yeah. However,
But
yeah, these
it
are
doesn't.
Yeah, these are kitchen countertop height, or a bit lower than that actually. I think. I forget.
I was going to say these are very much at hip height.
Yeah.
Which is a little high for a desk. Although that's something I found interesting about buying desks for the office reasonably recently, is how all of them seem to be too damn low.
Interesting.
So if you're more than about, 130 centimetres tall, you're just like...
Your knees just hit the bottom of them.
Or you can't get the chair at the height necessary for your legs to not be in a funny position. And it's just like...
Yeah.
What were these tested on? Children?
Here's one. Chunky Chunk says, question about matching CPU with RAM frequency. i5 12600K claims to support DDR5 at 4800.
Yes.
But if my motherboard supports XMP, would buying DDR5 at 6200 be stable? Caradog, you're more nerdy for RAM. Why don't you take this one?
As a very short answer to the question, yes. It will work fine.
Yes.
The reason for the difference or the discrepancy between the two is the speed listed by Intel is what they will provide support on.
Oops.
They will sell the device and provide support if it doesn't work. In the sense of they will go, this part is faulty because it does not meet specification. Running it faster than that is outside of specification, and therefore Intel will not provide support on it or say it's faulty. However, in basically all circumstances, DDR5 memory controllers are able to run up to 6,000 mega transfer with basically no issue. For the non-K CPUs, so the 12400, 12600 non-K, etc., 14100F, assuming there is one, you may have issues with frequencies higher than there, because the voltages are limited, so you can't run at the high enough voltages that you need to run. But for what speed did you say? Something like 5200.
6200.
Yes, but for a speed of 6200, you'll probably be fine. If you wanted to play it ultra conservative and ultra safe, you could get a kit that was, say, 5600 and still see a benefit over the 4800, as long as it didn't have really, really slow timings. You'd be looking for something that was, you know, like a... I can't remember exactly what the bin is for the actual specific timings, but it'd be something where you're looking at those 4 primary timings, where it'd be something like 30, 30, 30, 80, 78, something around there. If JD is there, he may remember the actual specific bin down there, but yes, it would be something along those lines.
Yeah. Also, DNA has just pointed out that faster RAM will always run at slower speeds if needed, which is true to an extent. You could always go 6000 or 6200, and if you're having trouble being stable, you could just underrun it slightly at 5600 or something like that. However, watch out for bad fast kits, where this is the issue where timings come up, where you'll be able to buy 6,000 mega transfer kits that just have really, really awful timings on them.
Yeah, there's a couple of kits out. Well, there's actually a surprisingly large number of kits out there that are like 6,000, and then
that can't be right.
So
that's miles out. Unless that does just need to. I think it does.
What if you unscrew that? Because it says, hold on, it says not to do the screws tight.
Well, I did the screws tight. I think it's saying not to do the screws tight because
you need to then split it and then do it tight, effectively.
Well, I'll do that next time. However, I made it work.
Yes. Yes, there are a concerningly large number of kits that are like 40, 90, 90, 168 or something, which is terrible and will probably actually be slower by applying the XMP profile or Expo profile than not running a profile, just because the timings are so bad and so loose.
Yes. So yes, that's the thing is, just always make sure you look at the timings. Never purchase purely on the mega transfer speed. That's a guide, basically. Yeah. That's sort of the class of RAM it is.
Yes.
And what kind of speeds it's looking for, but perhaps not what it's best at.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand as well, if you were really stuck for choices, you might be able to buy a kit that has a really high mega transfer rate but terrible timings, and just run it at a lower mega transfer rate with good timings. But that's the kind of thing that you'd be doing if you actually know how to set up timings.
Yeah, it's a case as well that the timings to transfer speed are a ratio. So whilst these numbers won't specifically work, they are a, for instance, representation. If you were running at a transfer speed of 4,000 with a timing of 10, you could take that and run at a transfer speed of 8,000 with a timing of 20, because the ratio is the same, effectively. So it's a case of, if you bought a super high clock speed kit, in theory, you should be able to run the same kit at much tighter timings at a much lower speed, because the actual time for each operation is the same time, because the transfer speed and the timing are a ratio. And you're talking about the timing is saying do this operation every X cycles, effectively. So if you do it for a lower number of, so if you do the operation more frequently in number of cycles, but each cycle is coming around slower, you're actually reaching the same amount of time per operation. So yeah, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other on that front.
Yes. Also, I've mentioned him several times on the podcast, but I'll say it again, but just because it's always relevant. But if you're ever in a conversation about memory timings and you're like, I don't understand what timings are. Like, what do these milliseconds mean? What are these timings? I strongly recommend looking up Ben Eater's YouTube channel. Ben Eater, if you look up his 6502 breadboard computer, it's a breadboard computer based on the 6502 processor, which is the same one they used in like the NES and the Commodore and stuff like that. He has a video in there where he's adding a RAM chip to his 6502, and that requires him to check that the timings for that RAM chip will actually work. And while obviously this is a far cry away from modern RAM timings, but he shows the timing chart and he shows why the timings matter and what the timing is doing, the way it's saying, you know, we need to address the memory and then we need to wait for the memory to actually get the contents before it will return, and that takes time and stuff like that. This is what the timings actually means.
There we go.
So yes, also Caradog is reaching for the actually hardcore overclocking videos, which will also show this off.
If you want a much more in-depth explainer series, there is a playlist link in the chat which goes through with Buildzoid goes through what all of the timings are on DDR4, certainly the major primary, secondary ones, and explains which ones are more important, which ones are less important, and to a degree why, and what time and when they'll be important or not.
Yes.
So yes, it's a very good primer to all of that.
Cool. Yeah. What are you checking?
I was looking at these because I was wondering if these were angled, because if they're splayed...
That's why I turned them around multiple times, because I was like, are they angled? I don't think they're angled, basically. Or I think it's... This is why I was like, is it the other left? That's why I was like, are they actually handedness?
I think the answer is solidly no.
I think they're crap. I think I bought cheap stools and I've received cheap stools. However, as aforementioned, I think I will need to spend like 3 or 4 times the amount of money to get something that is actually better in any meaningful way.
Yes.
So yes. Rolling back to another question. Opinions on the 4000 series Super release. I haven't looked at any of the reviews. Have you looked at any of the reviews?
Yes.
What's the deal with the Supers?
The 4070 Super has come out and is available for purchase, and reviews have come out. The rest of them have not yet. I don't know what the numbers are in the sense of average percentage uplift or anything like that from the 4070 to the 4070 Super. However, the major takeaway is just the fact of the price per frame, the dollar per frame, has gone down. So they are better value because the performance is higher and the price is the same.
Okay, yeah.
So from that perspective, yes, they are a better value buy now, as long as the sort of price ratio between what the 4070 settles at, because the 4070 is continuing, and the 4070 Super settles at in the long run.
Yeah.
The kind of stepping away from the card and its performance and so on in isolation, apparently the supply of the cards is quite low, which infers that Nvidia is intentionally going to try and keep the price high by not supplying many.
Yeah. Yeah. So the seems all right. I'll give it a bit of a wiggle.
Absolutely. So yeah, so basically a case of
that feels more stable than the others ever did.
Oh, that's good.
Whether or not they'll last or not is another question.
No, you can't.
Riker maneuver, yeah. The easiest of Riker maneuvers.
Yes,
all right.
I agree with the sentiment. They are actually solid, which is quite an impressive starting point.
Huzzah. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. I originally got the square ones just because they had a bigger top on them, and I was like, oh cool, you could put a cushion on that if you wanted to, or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, because they're just square with straight legs, I think they were just incredibly susceptible to just leaning back and forth. Whereas
Yeah,
because these ones they go out in diagonals, they're more stable by design.
Hopefully.
Yes, hopefully. Good.
Hello. Do.
Worth hunting for 3080 Ti's. I don't know what the price of 3080 Ti's is doing at the moment,
No.
and I really should because I have one for sale. I just don't know how much to sell it for at the moment.
No. The comment I saw, I recall from the reviews were saying like the 2070 Super is 50% faster than the 3080. I think that was the comment.
The 4070 Super.
The 4070 Super
Yeah.
is about 50% faster than the 3080.
Mm.
So it's a case of, from that perspective, it's almost worth upgrading from a 3080 to a 4070 Super.
Really?
In that sense. Because obviously it's a 50% performance increase.
Yeah.
Obviously, I would say that unless you're actually hurting for performance, don't upgrade.
Yeah.
It's the usual comment. But yeah. Interesting kind of step up in performance on that front. So the one for me that I'm interested in seeing the performance ratio on is the 4080 Super compared to the 4090. And seeing whether they are going to try and position the 4080 Super by performance to replace the 4090 effectively by gaming performance.
Yeah. We'll see, because it's a big distance to cover, because the 4090 is just way out in front of everything.
Yeah. So whether they basically, going to push the 4080 Super reasonably hard, so then it's a case of it's only sort of, a 15% step between the 4080 Super and the 4090.
Yeah. It would be interesting to have that bit in the middle. But yeah, don't know. It depends. I think I'm more interested in anything that pulls down the prices of the cards, and so the 4070 Super is interesting because since it's coming in at the cost of a 4070, what we want to see is that the 4070 and thus the rest of the stack pushes down in cost. So the introduction of the Super lowers the cost of all of the other cards, thus providing cheaper points of entry.
Yeah, there has already been an official $50 price cut on the 4070.
Yeah.
Which was announced at the same time as the 4070 Super was. So that's now gone down to an official MSRP of $500.
Yeah.
So that's something. Yeah. And I think the 7600 XT 16GB is going to be an interesting point as well, just because it's going to be the cheapest 16GB card out there.
Yeah.
Apparently it's coming with a minor performance bump as well. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Because I've got a client computer in at the moment that has, I think it's got it has a 4070 in it at the moment, and they want to upgrade because they're just looking for more performance. I think they do flight sim stuff, so they're in that land of there's no limit basically. That nothing is ever enough. It's just the more power you throw at it, the better it goes.
What CPU do they have?
I forget.
Because unless it's 13th or 14th gen or 7000th gen, they will see more performance improvement by upgrading the CPU.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll double check that. I think they've got a new gen CPU in there, so I think that's fine. But yeah, would have to double check. But yeah. However, I've sort of been sitting on that PC a bit because I'm not sure what to recommend. So it will be interesting to see what things are doing at the moment. Because the problem is just it doesn't seem. I think like the 4080 Super might be the answer to that, because it doesn't seem worth upgrading from a 4070 to a 4080, and a 4090 is a hell of a splash, So perhaps hanging around for the 4080 Super might be the answer there, because that will provide a card that has a meaningful performance improvement from a 4070 without costing $2,000.
Yeah. Also, also depends on how, if that makes sense, how much the money means to them. Just because we're also expecting Rockwell? I can't remember. Whatever the new Nvidia generation is in December.
Oh, 5000. Well,
Yeah.
5000 series.
Yeah, we're expecting the next generation in December. So it's a case of if that's coming in December. So if that's coming in December, it's a case of how much is the money worth to them. Because if they can't upgrade next year, if that makes sense, if they can't upgrade this year and next year, they're probably going to see better returns by doing it next year.
Yes. Yeah, that's fair. Because the thing is, like, this is the point where I'd be like, well, there's always something on the horizon. But then on the other hand, that will be the beginning of a new product cycle, which is typically going to be 2 to 3 years.
Which is going to be somewhere between 20 and 30 months.
Yeah. So yeah. Nvidia 5000 is next year, not this year?
Yeah, we're expecting.
Well, fourth quarter is going to be end of the year, start of the year.
Yeah, we're expecting the announcements to be December, so we actually know
announcements.
So we actually know whether the cards are worth bothering with, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah.
But also a case of next year, 2025. We're expecting AMD's next generation, and the expectation for that is that AMD is basically going to be bringing 4080-ish performance to £500 or $500,
Fair
which
enough.
is effectively a doubling of performance, of performance per dollar.
Yeah.
In theory.
That would be quite devastating to Nvidia, because AMD seem to be playing this game of, we don't need to be the best, we just need to. But if we capture 90% of the actual real market, it doesn't really matter if you have the crown or not. Who cares if you have the land speed record if we've sold all of the cars?
So if that is true, and assume it's called the RX 8000 series, the RX 8080 XT or something like that, is the performance of a 7090 XTX plus 1 or 2%, but comes in at $500. That will be interesting, just because the price performance setup will be very good.
Yeah. Recommendations for a screwdriver set. What kind of sizes are you looking for? Or rather, what are you disassembling? Is this for laptop disassembly, or for PCs, or general purpose, or what?
Because to be honest, Wearer covers all of that anyway.
Yeah, true, yeah.
Because they go from P000 all the way up to PH2.
Yeah. I mean, as I say, I am a Wearer fanboy, and so I will always recommend them. They're just awkward to buy because you usually have to buy a lot of separates to actually get the ones you want.
Yeah.
However, they are the best screwdrivers I've ever used.
Laptops and smaller devices. Yeah, basically Wearer Craft
Form. Yeah.
Which is Craft Form with a K because it's German.
Yeah. It's like Kraftwerk, but not.
I mean, yeah, it's just like Kraftwerk is with a K.
Sorry, it's not Kraftwerk, it's Kraftwerk.
How much memory has the Stool got? Hopefully none. Oh no. Windows Hello through butt imprint.
iFixit isn't horrible. Yeah, iFixit is okay. My stipulation for iFixit is how good their lifetime warranty is, but then also it comes down to, are you doing this at a professional level? And that's not meant as a slight against skill level. That's meant as a, how hard are these things actually going to get worked? Because, for example, the iFixit kit that I have, they are really nice screwdrivers, but they're not holding up to professional use. Yeah. Now, they have a lifetime warranty on them, so theoretically you just run them into the ground and then you claim on the lifetime warranty, I guess.
Yeah. The other thing as well is they are very good as a kit purchase.
Yes.
So at the very least, I have one of the vast majority of small drivers kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then
someone did look it up, but I still can't remember what the name of this kit is. This was sent in by a viewer, but this kit here, I don't know the name of it. I don't think it's available in the UK, but this is great, this iFixit kit. This has got all of the stuff. It folds up nicely. It's in this, it's in this canvas thing that wraps up and it's not a box, so you don't need to worry about it cracking. You can just throw it into the bag kind of thing. So I really love the packaging. And the set that's in here is genuinely useful. It's got a couple of slotted screwdrivers, like 2, I think. It's got a bunch of Torx screwdrivers, which you need. It's got a P5 in it for max. It also goes down to T3 for max, because T3 is an awkward one. It's got a couple of Y heads in it as well, so it will get the tri-wing screwdrivers. And yeah, like apart from this weird crosshead one, I don't know what you'd call that. That's the only screwdriver that's in that set where I'm just like, I don't know what this is for. But because it's iFixit, I assume that there is a purpose to that.
I mean,
and
it says standoff on it, but I don't know what it's standing off.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, like that actually does say Torx T3 on
That's
it, doesn't
it.
it?
So, yeah,
they describe it as a standoff screwdriver,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure
So
what
like,
it's
apart from
doing.
that, there's nothing useless in this kit. So it is a great kit. By comparison, wearer screwdriver sets, they're generally aimed at electricians. So
iPhone standoff screwdriver.
oh, okay, fair
Interesting.
enough. Yeah. I don't fix iPhones, so that doesn't mean anything to me. However, yeah, that makes sense.
PC standoffs. What? How would you put that in a PC standoff?
Yeah, PC standoffs don't have a cross in the top of them. They're hex, which is why I've got a hex driver specifically for those. But yeah, don't know. Anyway, but yeah, apart from that, it's a really good set that doesn't have a lot of useless stuff in it. By comparison, a lot of wearer sets just are filled with a lot of screwdrivers that you're just never going to use. So I often say for people who are buying wearer to just buy separate, so you just buy specifically the common sizes that you're going to want, which is what I did for all of my sets.
No. Yeah,
So,
no, fine.
So yes.
Sorry, I was just double checking. I was like, could you stick the hex one in the top of the standard ATX standoff? And no.
Nope.
No, I was, yes.
Yeah. So so yeah, in terms of other stuff, so yeah, iFixit, they're okay. Like I say, I don't think they hold up to professional use where the screwdrivers are getting abused all day, every day. But if you're a sort of hobbyist kind of thing, that's not going to be a problem. Like I say, professional use and hobbyist use are not the same. It's just like it's just like if you're in a car workshop, for them, they need a ratchet gun that they can just be constantly bashing against things constantly all day, every day without it wearing out. That's a different use case to a hobbyist who works on their car at the weekends. These use cases are not the same. One of them is a lot more punishing than the other. So yeah. In terms of Weha versus wearer, I hear that Weha have better handles on them because the handles on wearer are not particularly good. The Craftform handle isn't very good in my opinion, but the heads on wearers are incredibly good, and that's what matters in my opinion. That's the bit that wears out. That's the bit that actually shreds screws. So yeah, that's when I actually care. So yes. So yeah, wearer are my weapon of choice. iFixit, they seem to be okay, but I don't think they're good for professional. I don't think they stand up to professional stuff. Pico finish.
Oh, there are 2. There is a. I see. I don't know.
Yep.
Yes.
Anyhow.
There's the chat.
Proxon for the big stuff. Yeah. Yeah. I'm using the Proxon set that that Marcel sent in at the moment, and yeah, this is a general purpose screwdriver set. I don't use it every day, but it's very, very good because it's got all the big boys in it, and it's got a lot of uncommon heads in it. So like when I want to put together stools and stuff like that, yeah, I do get this set out. It's a good set.
What the hell is the XZN? 4. Yeah.
However, also though, this set does have like it has a Torx 5 head in it, and like it also has like I think it's got a Philips 00 or a Philips 0 in it?
There's a Philips 0.
Yeah, Philips 0. I mean, even Philips 0 with a handle that big, that's not a good idea. And like T5 with a handle this big, you're going to just shear off the head with a handle of this size. This is way too big for those kinds of screws. But it does have them, so, you know.
Some of these things, like a C3, it's just...
Yeah, it's got some... But also it's
what
really
are these
good.
For?
Yeah, it's very valid. Also, the other thing as well is that all the recommendations I've been making are for individual screws, not a multi-bit screwdriver set. I don't like multi-bit screwdriver sets because this will wear out eventually, and also it's annoying to change out the bits and stuff. However, multi-bit screwdriver sets are incredibly good because they will give you a selection of 30 or 40 bits in a single set. So that means that one time you don't have that weird shaped screw, you'll have the right screwdriver for it. So while I don't recommend a multi-bit screwdriver for a daily driver, it's something that I definitely suggest having in your toolkit though.
Yeah.
You don't have to go full torque on the screws, Graham. Yeah, but that's the problem, is you have to use the tips of your fingers because with a handle that big, it's very easy to apply a loss of torque. Whereas with the tiny little, hang on a sec, where's the... That's the size that a P0 should be. And with a handle that thin, you're going to actually have to strain your fingers if you're having to put a lot of torque into the screw. So you're going to know when you're applying force. Whereas a big handle like this, it's extremely easy to apply a high level of force. So you will just over tighten things. You'll over tighten things. You won't know whether it's gone tight or whether you're long screwing it or something like that. There's just no feedback because you're trying to hammer a nail into a wall with a sledgehammer. Whereas a smaller screwdriver, you get more feedback. So you should only use a screwdriver that is as big as it needs to be, is my point. Right.
Have you successfully attached the stool?
I think I have. I'm just going to give these bottom ones one more check. Yeah, those need another tighten. I'm actually going to the trouble of tightening all of these properly because I'm not busting it up. I have a good feeling about these stools.
Good. Excellent.
Adjustable torque drivers. Sure, that sounds overcomplicated to me. Spinny top on the iFixit multi-bits is super nice. Yeah, I mean any screwdriver that's not garbage has a spinny top. That's not a unique feature. But the spinny top is that is necessary. Don't ever buy a screwdriver that doesn't have a spinny top on it.
Certainly at that size. The like the big PH2, you're not really fussed about a spinny top on that.
No.
So yes.
Yeah. However, for precision screwdrivers, yeah, spinny top is a must. Although to be honest, I don't think I've ever seen a precision screwdriver that doesn't have a spinny top.
No, I don't know. Even the crappy, cheap like Draper sets you
Yeah.
can buy have it.
Yeah.
With heads that fall apart because you looked at them wrong.
Yeah, I did have a Draper set at one point. I think it lasted. I think my Draper set lasted maybe 12 months before it was just completely wrecked.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was the point when I started buying wearers because I was getting tired of replacing my screwdrivers every year.
Yeah.
You know. Whereas, yeah, the wearers, the original wearers that I bought, I have had those for years now, and the heads on them look just they've got some wear on them. You can tell that they've been used. But they look almost as good as brand new ones.
Yeah, they look also just a case of they are just as usable.
Yes. Yep. And electric mini screwdriver for things with lots of screws. Yeah, yep. Yep, the secure electric screwdriver I use, still going strong. The first one that I bought, is dead. That one died a long time back, but also
It
that
also died of abuse.
yes, I was going to say that died because we were brutalizing it because we wanted to just test. I wanted to know just how much abuse they could take because I'd been told that they just break at the drop of a hat, and we did run it into the ground, but like we were trying to screw in self-tapping fan screws with it and nonsense like that.
Yeah.
We were brutal to that thing. So, like, I'm not at all surprised that it broke. But even with all of that abuse, it lasted a good, 18, 24 months, I think.
Was it really that long?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, definitely lasted well over a year.
Yeah, I thought it was about a year.
Yeah, it was more than a year with the abuse. So, yeah, and, considering I think I paid, £25 for it or something like that, it was fine,
Yeah.
So yes, speaking of dead, have I fixed my soldering irons yet? No, I haven't found the time to sit down and do them. We could have a look at them today, actually. That might be interesting.
Yeah.
I'm almost tempted. No, we've got to get the microscope out for that. So no, I can't be bothered to move the microscope today. So we'll work on other stuff. Before that, though, I want another coffee, I think.
Very well.
So I'm going to put on the coffee machine.
Good.
Jarelli says, I got a PH2 with Germany stamped on the handle. It's probably
Excellent.
older than I am. Yeah. Well, here's the question. Does it say East Germany or West Germany on it? That's how you date it, You can get the iFixit Mahi set for $40. Yeah, that's not bad. That's a great starting point, I think. So yeah. Wasn't it the LCD panel on one? One of my Pine Sols, I have replaced the LCD panel on it before. Oh no, it's the T100, the TS100 that I replaced the LCD panel on. So yeah.
Was that because it had failed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But so yeah. However, yeah, my Pine Sols though, no, this is the first time either of them have gone wrong. I don't know what happened. They both died at the same time. I was very confused. So yeah, no idea what's going on with it. But yeah. Right, I'm gonna
have a look at the Wearer
I was
736.
about to say, I'm gonna put on the coffee machine. You look up that Wearer set, and let's just have a quick look.
Would you also chuck on one for me?
Sure thing.
Thank you.
Is your mug in here, or is it in the kitchen?
Should be in the sink.
In the sink. Okay. Imagine returning your mug to the kitchen.
Yeah, like a normal person, like a good person,
like a civilized person.
Wearer Craftful. Oh boy, I can't see what bits it's got on it. Hold on. Scroll properly. There we go. PH00 and a PH0. A Torx 5 and a Torx 6. 5 slotted. 3 hexagons. Yeah. It's fine other than the fact that it's got 5 slotted screws in it. Screwdrivers in it.
Yeah, who needs 5 slotted screwdrivers? That's my point.
And it's just kind of, Wearer are annoying for doing stuff like that.
Yeah. I think I asked this question.
You just bought single drivers off of eBay, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right. I was just buying them in singles on eBay, and they're £4 or £5 a pop, so that's not necessarily good value. But you may end up spending less money because, at the end of the day,
what size do you actually need? You only need 2.
Yeah.
Don't you only need a 0 and a 00 in the Wearer craft form?
Pretty much.
And then everything else you could do on random kits.
Yeah, P0, P00, and then T3, T5. Those are the 4 that I use all the time.
Yeah.
I've got others, I'd get a T6, although I find myself using T6 less and less. The writing hasn't worn off of my T6 screwdriver, and that's how you know that it doesn't actually get used very often. Has the print worn off of it or not?
Yeah.
All the ones that I use all the time, they get used because the print's worn off the handle.
Yeah.
Whereas the T6 print still hasn't worn off.
Yeah.
So yeah, and a P1, Phillips 1, that's a nice to have for bigger screws.
Yeah.
There are some laptop hinge screws where you get on there with the P1, but that's something that you could have in your multi-bit set.
Yeah.
I
misread when buying the screwdrivers, and I bought a Wearer PH2 by accident. so it's a PH2 with a craft form top on the top.
Why do they even make that?
And I was just like, I don't know how I did this, but thanks, eBay.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, like, why would you need a craft form with that on it? That's nuts.
Right? But I was just like, oh well, whatever.
Is it the size of the craft form handle?
It's literally just that.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
It's a well-endowed screwdriver. I'm going to push the button on the coffee machine because it will have warmed up.
Yes. Kilo Alpha, thank you for the £20 in your super chat. Good evening, guys. Enjoying the show. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Oh, yes. That are JIT. What? What is JIT? To Google. What is this? Yes. So you're telling me it's not a Philips? Ah, I like the fact that there is an article about this. I see. It has a different blade profile? I don't know. That looks like it requires an awful lot of reading. Excuse me. Yes. But yes, Floor Lamp, you were saying about good equipment and good soldering stuff. What is your present recommendation? And I will do a look. So was your recommendation that Atin 1-2 kit or 212 kit or whatever it was? Oh, I see. Interesting. Ah, Craftform solders JIS compatible. If that is true, that would also possibly be a reason for not having ever noticed the difference. Oh, okay. Thanks, YouTube. For soldering iron, T3A and T3B are good all-round stations. Currently playing with the T4020D dual station. Basically T3A plus T3B. Oh. So, what's the difference between a T3A and a T3B? That is the question. Na 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 na. I see. Axon T3A temperature controlled quick soldering station.
Ooh.
Right. There you go. The difference is the tip selection you can use in T3A is a little bigger format than what the T3B can take. Ah, I see. Okay.
I've got a, I have an AliExpress shopping cart ready to go with new soldering irons.
Good.
So yes, and yeah, the Axi is Axion Axon. It might be like Azun or something like that.
Asian? Ah, yes, the Asian soldering kit.
That one is the one that I'm going to buy. So
yes.
So yeah. Anyway.
Are you getting the A or the B?
Both. I'm getting one base station and both handles.
I see. Fair enough.
And then I can have a couple of tips for each, and it just means that I can play the field because the handles aren't expensive. The handles are like 15, 20 quid each, kind of thing.
Are you getting the T420D, which is a dual station? I think.
No, I'm getting the single one. I'm working on the assumption that I can plug both handles into the same base. Like, obviously, I'd have to not at the same time, but I'm working on the assumption that I can just unplug one and plug in a different handle if I need a different type of.
Oh yeah, that's the T420D.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot more expensive though.
Mm.
Yeah, like that's cool, but that's also massive overkill for my use case. So. That looks really nifty if you had a if you were working on a large, if you had a larger workshop, like if you had two people doing professional soldering, you have one of those in the middle and two stations. That'd be cool. So yeah. But yes, the single one is the direction I was going in. And,
with the different handle types.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to get. I think it's the the 210. Yeah, the 210 and the 245. I think was what I was going with, because the T115. I think that is for that's for your soldering mobile phone circuit boards sized tips, and that's just not a size I work down to. The middle one, the 210, I think that has tips that are suitable for working down to 0201, which is that's the size I work down to. That's the smallest stuff you'll find on a MacBook.
Yes.
And yeah, I have no intention of going any smaller than that at this time.
And 0201s were the ones that you functionally can't see with the naked eye.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. And like I'm already working on those with the ridiculous macro iron. Well, I say macro, the ridiculous tips I've got at the moment, which are large, but just having a smaller tip will give me a far greater level of precision. And also, I'll just have better tips, because the big drawback of the Pine-Sol tips is they just don't carry, the small Pine-Sol tips just don't really carry a lot of thermal mass.
Yeah.
And because they're limited to about 65 watts realistically, they can't keep up with a heatsink. Whereas this guy is I think that base station is 200 watts or something like that.
Yeah, that's what it said. It said up to 400 watts.
Yeah, exactly.
For this one, because it's two of them.
Yeah, and so it's going to depend on what the tips can manage, I would assume. But either way, it's going to be able to deliver more thermal mass and better recovery time than the Pine-Sol can. So that's where it's going to be an improvement over the equipment that I've got.
Yeah, the T3B does not take the 245 handles by default.
Okay, yeah.
The T3A takes T12 and
T12 and 245.
The T3B takes 210 and 115.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's so yeah,
you could put in the B the 2110, and in the A you could put the 245
that's right.
effectively.
So I was looking to get the T3A and the T3B handle. Yeah. It's just extremely confusing that they give the handles and the tips different names. So, yeah.
Hold on. I think we're using the wrong names. Yes, the handles are T45, T12, T210, and T115. The base stations are T3A and T3B. The base stations do not accept the different handles.
Okay, yeah, that fine. Yeah, that's where I need to. Yeah, I'll double check. In that case, if in doubt, I'll just get the smaller one, because if I want to work on slightly larger, well, the problem is the reason why I wanted the slightly bigger handle was for Xboxes. Because when I'm soldering down the HDMI port on an Xbox, I need a big boy. That's why I wanted to get the larger handle. That's literally the use case for that, as far as I'm concerned.
So can you get big? Can you get equally as large tips on something useful that you like?
Probably, and plus also, even if I'm still using a smaller tip, because some of the tips that will go in the smaller handle are basically the same size as the ones I'm currently using. And those are of a suitable size. I just need more power. So having the same size but with more power will still be more than adequate. So yeah.
Oh, interesting. Apparently you can get the Axon T320, which will take the T210 and T45 handles.
Okay. Yeah. That looks reasonable.
And is 106 quid or something like that.
Yeah, that's the same kind of budget that I had laid out already. It just looks less fancy, but then it's got a nice built-in holder and all the rest of it as well. So yeah, that looks reasonable.
Yeah. Oh.
It looks less flashy than the nice silver box with the OLED screen, but that looks like it actually has more utility. It looks like it might come with more useful kits as well there, because the other ones I was looking at, it was very difficult to find one that had the correct combination of items in a useful sense. So yeah.
Although it does also feel like one of these things are very much in this sense of you buy this one item on its own, singular. You buy this one item on its own, singular.
Yeah.
You build the items together because you're at specialist level kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh well.
There you go.
All right.
There you go. Yes.
Turner Gaming, thank you for the £20, much appreciated. Good afternoon, this is possibly a stupid question. Do I have to transfer my data, including Windows 11 install, from my Acer's M.2 SSD to a brand new SSD using a certain method? I mean, if you have a single M.2 slot and you want to transfer it across, then yeah, you would need to image it. You can't just copy and paste a Windows install. But like, if you're a lot of gaming laptops will have two M.2 slots, so you could just leave Windows on your main SSD and put in the 2 terabyte SSD as additional storage for example, a Steam library. So that's up to you. Is do you want to transfer it? If you do want to transfer it, then yes, you're going to need to image it across. But you're not obligated. You know, most gaming laptops will have 2 M.2 slots these days. So you could probably just have both drives in there.
The fake Heiko FX951. What is a Heiko FX951?
The Hako FX951 and the fake one, which is
I see.
As far as anyone is concerned, the fake one is more or less just as good as the real thing. Like it's not quite as good, but my concern there is A, it's 300 quid because Hako or Heiko, and B, also this model has been around since the Stone Age. So yeah, I don't really want to be in the Heiko ecosystem because it's brand snobbery is a strong word, but it's drastically more expensive, and people I take seriously are recommending different stations to me.
Also, as a layperson, it's only 75 watts.
Yeah.
Heiko
are the fluke of soldering irons.
And if you've already got a 65 watt soldering iron, does 10 watts actually make any difference?
Yeah. So yeah, it depends. It's going to be higher performance. It's going to because of the way it works and stuff. But it's not going to, I don't think it's going to change my world because, like you say, only 75 watts. But yeah, Hako they're the fluke of soldering irons, basically. It's a case of, yeah, they are very good quality. So it will be the best 75 watt soldering station you've ever seen. But that doesn't stop it from costing 3 times the amount of the Aixen ones while providing less power, kind of thing. So...
Oh my good lord.
It's the same with JBC and to a certain extent Weller. These kinds of stations are why when I was first getting into board repair, channels like Lewis Rossman and stuff like that, they were like sort of going, oh, you need the Heiko, you need the Weller and stuff like that, and they were basically turning around saying you're going to have to spend $1,000 on your soldering station and your hot air station, and that's why I started out on cheap tools, because I took one look at that and I was like, no, I don't have that kind of money. However, these days there are low-cost brands available that really deliver. There are now, you can get hot air stations for like less than £200 that are 1,000 watts and good quality. The 1,000 watt Aten station is really good and it's like £200. So,
oh wow,
yeah, there are just better options than brands like Heiko and stuff like that. It is a great brand, don't get me wrong, but there are just better options than this now.
£500 excluding that and doesn't have a tip. You have to separately buy the tip as well.
And that tip, if you want a genuine Heiko tip, that tip is going to be 75 quid.
Yeah.
Or 75, yeah, probably 50 quid, $75. Whereas like the tips for the Aixen, they're like 10 quid each. Yeah. And the Heiko, the tips for the Heiko will probably last the lifetime of the station, whereas my ones I'll probably have to change them out every other year. But when I'm spending 10 quid per tip, I don't really care. And it also means that I can buy a load of different tips and see which one works better. Whereas for the Heiko, when you're spending like 50 or 60 quid per tip, you're going to want to get your money's worth out of that, you know. So you're going to be, I'm not going to buy a different tip for it unless I really think it's going to be the one, you know. Whereas when I'm spending 10 quid, sure, I'll take a punt on that. And if I try it out and I'm like, it's fine, but I preferred the other one, I'll just put it in the desk tidy, and you know, I might use it sometime. But I'm not going to feel robbed because I spent a tenner on it.
Yeah. Interesting. There's some mention about a nitrogen system though. So like, I can see it being I presume that's some sort of nitrogen supply over soldering iron, avoiding
soldering.
oxygen.
Yeah. Effectively.
So if you need that, suddenly this price makes sense.
Yeah.
If you're doing the specialized thing that requires like
Yeah.
nitrogen system compatible soldering.
Yeah. And
now it makes sense.
Yeah, see, and that might matter if you're working on, like, if you're making top-of-the-line amplifiers or something like that, and you're doing, like, silver soldering and you're purge soldering and stuff like that, then sure, you know. So, yes. Make some JVC tips, or cartridges, yeah. So yes, and also to follow up on the was there any? Did we have a follow up from the no, and Clonezilla is a free cloning tool. It's not the best in my opinion, but you can certainly try it because it doesn't cost anything. I've had mixed success with Clonezilla.
The other thing you can try as well, if you want to online offline image backup restore image system, you can use Snapshot for free for 30 days.
Snapshot is a bit of a mission, but it does work, and it is the one that I use daily. However, I use it because it's the devil I know. So Okay. Right. Hello, Mike. How you doing? Got an MBA. What's MBA? Or do you mean MSI? 7800 XT. Can't believe how poor it performs. Your older 6800 was better. Interesting. Something's gone terribly wrong there, I suspect.
The 6800 XT on average is faster than the 7800 XT.
Really?
Yeah.
What happened?
But yeah, the 6800 XT is on average faster than this 7800 XT.
Damn, that's a bit depressing. Yeah. Oh well. Discussing point. Has scaling up obscene amounts of RAM made programmers far less sophisticated? Yes. Basically.
Half and
half. Yeah, half and half. Like, to an extent, computers today do an awful lot more than they used to, and a lot of people don't really realize that or think about it. And they don't really think about what they're doing on their computer. And like, some people go, oh, I don't use my computer for anything that I never used to. You know, like, I just browse the internet and stuff like that. And I used to be able to do that on 500 megs of RAM. But the internet isn't the same. You know, like, even if we ignore the fact that the internet is kind of bloated these days and everyone is loading up 30 megabyte JavaScript libraries on every page load, you know, sure, that can die in a fire. But even still, what we do on the internet, like, for example, if you want to run Discord, like, you know, Discord is a full-fledged chat application. You know, we weren't running that 10 years ago, you know. We were running Skype, which was awful as well, you know. So we have progressed, so the additional resources required for that are justified. However, there is an awful lot of bloat that I think wouldn't be there if we had a more restrictive environment. And also, that is some people being lazy, some people being incompetent, and also some people just doing it because, like, yeah, if everyone's got 16 gigs of RAM, then you don't really need to worry about RAM usage.
Also, a separate case of if you've been told you have 4 months to ship this project and you need 12 months to ship it, something has to give.
Sure. So to this extent,
when the publisher keeps pushing release dates that are infeasible.
Yeah. I guess to that extent, I'm when I say lazy programmers or developers, then perhaps I should rephrase that to a lazy project kind of thing. I'm like, I don't care whose fault it is, but something went wrong there.
Also,
if it
feature
was,
and scope creep.
Yeah.
Kill everything.
Yeah. So like, I think these are explanations as to why it has happened.
Yeah.
But that doesn't change the fact that it still happened, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like it was a completely different topic. Sampling is like the Scorpion tank. Was initially the very first brief of it was for it to be a light, fast vehicle.
Yeah.
It very much ended up as not light and not overly fast.
Yeah.
Because of feature creep and spec creep and buy-in from different people and so on, and different people wanting different things and so on. So you end up with a project just ballooning and going all over the place.
Yes.
So I'm not saying that's a justification for saying, oh, well, we should accept that, but just a case of more of a reason as to part of how it ends up happening.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just, for the record, I've just stepped away because I'm just like, oh yeah, I was going to fix things on this stream, so I'm just quickly setting up a data transfer while we talk.
Absolutely. Actually being prepared to fix things.
Yes, quite so. Imagine
fixing things in a repair shop.
I know, right? Because I said I was going to, and so far the only thing we've done is make 2 stools, which is, yeah. I don't want to say I clickbaited people, but yes. Yeah, Turnip Gaming says, I put a 2 terabyte SSD in the second M.2 already, but I want to upgrade the main 512 to a 2 terabyte because you like lots of storage. Then yes, you will need to transfer Windows from that 512 to the new one, or reinstall Windows.
Or yes,
yeah,
install just the 2 terabyte one, and install Windows to it, and then
so the simplest way would be to put your Windows SSD and the one where you want to put Windows in at the same time, removing everything else, and then image one to the other. Then you take out the old window, you take out the 512 drive and put your other 2 terabyte back in. That's how I would approach that. Or, as I say, you just put both the 2 terabytes in and you just do a clean install of Windows, which you may or may not want to do, depending on how long it takes you to set up your computer.
Yes.
For some people, they don't have a huge amount of setup to do, so it's just not a big deal to just reinstall Windows. Whereas for other people, they're like, oh, I got a lot of config that I've got to do if I reinstall Windows, so that may or may not be a pain in the ass.
Oh, right, because of the weird partitioning thing. Yes.
Yes.
I was like, this seems incredibly complicated for cloning a drive. What's happened here?
I'm hacking the shell, yeah.
I'm hacking the shell. Suddenly your fingers split into many smaller fingers.
It looks so cool, but also it's really stupid because you would just have some kind of... that in Ghost in the Shell, they have like Android hands, so their fingers split into 3 smaller fingers each, so they can type really fast on keyboards. It's like, if you can do that, why are you even still using a keyboard? I guess there's an excuse that it means that people that are and are not cyborgs can still use the same interface, but you'd just have you'd pass the shell.
You'd have a port you'd stick your finger in?
Yeah. Don't read into that.
Yes. You'd have an R2-D2 twiddly thing.
A scomp link. See, I know what it's called because I've been playing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order TM, an EA Games production by Respawn Entertainment.
Yes. Imagine if it wasn't an EA product.
Maybe, don't know. Yeah.
Like, imagine.
Yeah, because that's the thing is, we were talking about performance issues and lazy programming and stuff, and it's just like, when you look at Fallen Order, Jedi Fallen Order, and Jedi Survivor, the problems with those, it is a question of, did they make such a cock up of the performance of those games because of time and budget reasons, or because of incompetence, kind of thing? I don't know, is the answer there. But yeah. Right, that's cracking away. I'm going to test a screen on a laptop.
There do also seem to be core, like, engine issues.
Yeah, that's
in the second game as well.
Yeah, that's kind of my point, because I'm just like, that wasn't a we ran out of time. That's a we were doing it wrong from the beginning, wasn't it?
I don't know, because it basically sounded like they didn't have enough time to go through the debug process that they wanted to for the code.
Yeah.
And were forced to ship it, but also a case of the fact that it didn't get fixed in, you know, a day one patch, a 1 month later patch kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is the thing to me where I'm just like, that's egregious. Also, that's a different silver.
It is. I couldn't find. We're going to be replacing. So this is a MacBook Air. Where's the bottom cover so I can get the A number of this?
A.
Shut up.
Imagine.
Are you proud of that one?
Imagine, for a moment, having a system, an organisation.
I'll give you organisation in a moment. Right, this laptop.
No, you sodding won't.
Shut up. This is an A2337, and the keyboard. If you go to Benchcam. This is an unassuming looking A2337 until you turn it sideways and you go, oh no, what happened to the keyboard? So yeah, I think is what happened there. The screen is broken on it and does not give a picture, and it is very squashed. However, what I did manage to do was by removing these two screws here to just relieve the motherboard so it could stick up slightly. The motherboard isn't bent. I put a different broken screen on it, and it does start and give a picture. So I was able to get a time machine backup of it. So we've got the data off of it, but now I believe that if I just replace the chassis and the display assembly, we'll have a fixed laptop. It initially looked like it was just going to be a write-off, but a replacement screen is like 200 quid. A used good condition chassis is like 50 or 60 quid. So, you know, I think I quoted £350 to repair it, and I think it's going to be okay. However, I couldn't find a chassis in silver for a decent amount of money. So instead, I was like, sod it, we're just changing it to space grey. So I bought a space grey screen and a space grey chassis for it instead. I don't think the customer is going to mind.
I prefer the space grey.
Same. I think the space grey looks nicer anyway.
I think that's also just because the silver looks old now.
Silver is just very generic, isn't it?
Whereas it's also just old.
Yeah.
Because space grey was swapped to
2016.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas that silver is 2008. They went to this.
Yeah. Yeah, I would. Well, technically even earlier than that, because the PowerBook G4 was silver.
Yeah, but that wasn't unibody, was it?
No, but the actual colour, the silver MacBooks.
But it's a well, to me at least, it's a different look. It's got a very different finish, in my recollection.
No, the actual finish, the actual surface finish is the same.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. To me, it was much shinier and reflective.
Possibly,
and
but
like
then
buffed silver.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. Whereas there's more matte.
Yeah, there's probably some subtle differences in the finish. They won't be identical over that time, but fundamentally it's not changed. Not in the same way that an actual different colour. Like this is anodized, I assume. So yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. True Tone still pisses you off in these M1 display replacements. I haven't had any trouble with it, but then I haven't
True
looked
Tone
too
itself just pisses me off.
Yeah, I was going to say the thing is
the feature doesn't feel like an actual feature.
Yeah,
I personally want my colours to be colours.
Yeah, they seem to work okay, and they are drastically cheaper than Apple quote for their replacements. So yeah. That's why I just get on with it, basically.
The issue with this laptop is the fact that it's currently curved.
Yes.
And it shouldn't be.
Yes.
It should, in fact, be.
You can see that the keyboard there has it has a small pond in the middle. So I need to get some screwdrivers. Oh, I need a T5.
Are you just putting the screen on this?
Well, yeah, I need to bolt on the screen and just make sure it gives a decent picture, because we haven't seen a sure thing picture out of this laptop yet. I've just done a just good enough to recover data. And at that point, I got the data and then got out, because that was the primary objective, was data recovery.
Absolutely.
And if it turns out that I can fix the laptop up, then that's icing on the cake, basically.
Yeah. Are these displays for several models?
I don't think so. I think this is just a A2337.
Oh, I see. Okay. Only from what you were saying earlier about more of them will come in, sort of thing. I didn't know if it was a generic across several years.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I see. No. So if it turns out that this is not viable, then I either need to send this back or keep it. And
for another of this exact model.
Exactly. And
okay.
Yeah, this is an M1 MacBook Air. There will be many of them out in the field. I'll see another one, basically. And another one will... Well, I've got another one in that needs a replacement screen.
Yeah.
It's just I have two screens. So yes. Anyway. A heavy cat sat on it. I like that theory. Looks sat on, not rage. It could be, yeah. What do you...
Having it at that angle, just how much of a gap there is. That's wild.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, Apple did want to give us a laptop that was as thick as a manila envelope. So what do you expect when people sit down with it in their back pocket?
Maybe in your back pocket, because you have trousers that have pockets like that big.
I remember at a previous place of work, I was walking around the floor, and I got back to my desk and realised I had so much stuff in my pocket. I had a 7-inch tablet. A 7-inch tablet, and then like 6 phones and something else. And I just kind of got to my desk and was just like, yes. Tablet, phone, more phones, still more phones. Oh dear, giant battery bank. I was like,
why do I have so many phones?
Yes. So yes. But still, every now and then you're just kind of like, yes. Yes.
I don't have these problems.
It's like the handbag problem, you know. Your partner says, "Oh, just go into my handbag and grab this for me." You go in there and there's a cat, a cuddly toy, a kettle. They're the car keys. You know, 2 sandwiches. Yes.
I normally do this on a different bench, and it feels really awkward doing it here. So I'm trying to do it and staying on shot, but because I'm hanging off the back of the bench, it's awkward. But once I put this on, it won't matter anymore. There we go. Right.
What was this about? RAM issues or something? I don't know. Someone was saying something about RAM issues, and I have missed the original question. Apologies.
Please repeat the question.
I don't know.
I was just thinking the same thing as well. Right, so yeah, I'm just...
cam needed, no.
No, forbidden. Right, yeah, so I've literally just put like 2 screws to loose fit this, because I basically just need to turn it on, and it should give a solid picture, and I should be able to log into the user's account and just like browse around the laptop, open up some web browsers, and just make sure the laptop doesn't just immediately wet the bed, basically. Like, time will tell if the laptop is actually okay or not. But what I'm going to do is just do my best to fix it up, send it out with the warranty on it, and just say to the customer, if it dies, then bring it back, basically. Right, that's definitely plugged in. No idea if the battery is charged or not. Let's find out.
Oh. Fair enough.
What are you looking at? Cost of new MacBooks?
Yeah, just a cost of an M1 Air off of like Amazon or something.
Yeah.
If you were just like, I want one next day delivered kind of thing. And it was 640 quid.
Yeah, cheaper on eBay if you want to roll those dice.
Yeah.
I think you can find them on eBay for about 450 or 500 if you look around. The hell is going on with this battery connector? Battery connector, please.
Please.
Plus. What the hell? Just plug in. Oh, there we go. I see. I'm doing it wrong. I still haven't had much time with the Apple Silicon laptops. All right. No idea if this battery has charge in it. It doesn't look like it because it should have turned on automatically when I opened it. So I'm going to grab a charger. Where did I put that Type-C charger? Over here.
Yes. Da, da, da.
All right. Can we come off of bench cam, please?
One moment. Face cam.
Thank you. Because if it does start up, it'll come up with the customer's name, so
Yeah.
that sounds promising. Okay. That's good. We have a solid picture out of it, so that's looking very promising.
Excellent.
I'm going to log in. That's a weird two-tone loading bar. Oh, that's why. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Do you see how the colors are wrong? It's on high contrast mode. It just popped up with a message saying high contrast mode. This is why when I did the data recovery, so when I recovered data recovery from this, I had it on a HDMI output, and on my HDMI capture, the colors were all wrong, and I was like, that's why I was still concerned that there was something wrong with this thing. However, what I didn't realize, because I had a broken display on it, was that it's on high contrast mode. So that's why the colors all looked wonky. So I might just take it out of high contrast because I doubt that they intended it to be in high contrast. There's a lot of the accessibility settings are accessible on keyboard shortcuts. So that's probably on by accident, not by intention. So yeah, accessibility, there we go. Right. Increase contrast. What on earth is going on with this? There we go. Increase display contrast off. There we go. That looks correct now. Good.
Does it? Is that what it's supposed to look like?
Probably. I think it needs a log out and log back in again. It was like up here kind of thing.
Okay.
But yeah. However, also it's still got the plastic cover on the front and stuff like that.
It was also
So,
just the
yeah.
highlight in green and things like that.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. By the time this is actually like with a reboot and then remove the front thing and clean it and stuff like that, that'll look correct. So so yeah. Good.
Excellent.
All right. So this laptop does work. So the good thing is the £250 I've spent on spare parts for it are probably going to be fine.
Does
So,
the keyboard work?
the keyboard does work, I think, actually. But obviously, because the chassis is completely bent, it's just not
Wild.
viable. QWERTY. Yeah. To be honest, I think the broken LCD was the main reason why they couldn't progress with this.
Yeah.
If the screen hadn't broken, I think it would have been fine. But also, because if the logic board is actually screwed in properly, the logic board will be bent.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that then is just an accident waiting to happen.
Oh,
So,
no, absolutely. But I was just like, wait, the keyboard works?
Yeah. Yeah. Good. All right. I'm going to put this one to one side again because I've proven what I need to. It's a shame. I have got a new chassis on order for this, and if it had shown up today when the screen did, I would have been able to swap everything else out into that. But that hasn't happened. However, as things stand, this laptop is going to be okay. It just needs more parts.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just going to assume that's off, and it doesn't matter because I have a time machine backup anyway, so if I do completely balk it, it won't matter.
Somehow corrupt all the data.
Yes. And I'll take the display back off of it again because it's going onto a new chassis, so I may as well take that off while I'm here.
Yes, absolutely.
Just so it's not attached to a busted chassis.
Yes. In response to the earlier question about what was the question about the question, which we were asking the question about, an Asus X99-S, which is locking up, showing AA on the boot code. Is it? Yes.
Yeah.
Basically a case of...
What's the AA code stand for? Has someone looked that up?
It says that the motherboard is now in a ACPI mode.
Oh. All right, yeah. That doesn't...
Basically, it means that the board thinks it's fully posted.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The quick answer of telling whether it's a hardware motherboard issue or it's a software issue is boot off of something else. Windows flash drive, Linux live CD,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yep. See if you can boot from another source.
If that functions, then
Also, though,
it's the Windows install.
Yeah. I mean, have you got a picture on the display? Are we in a no post situation here?
No, it says it freezes during Windows boot.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Try and boot from something else.
Yeah.
I would also just check the BIOS setup as well. Check the date and time in the BIOS. Maybe try and do a BIOS update. Check the BIOS battery as well, just because remember the Mloong.
Yeah.
Bizarre BIOS issues can cause bizarre Windows boot up problems, and those ones can be really insidious. So just actually really sanity check, reset the BIOS to defaults, and check the day and time and stupid stuff like that. So yeah, BIOS issues can cause Windows to crash during boot. I didn't believe it until I saw it, but we saw it.
Yeah, certainly when it's invalid data.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah.
Right, I'm going to put that back on there for now. I'm not going to put any screws in, I'm just putting it on here just to put it together again.
So yes, that. And then obviously, if it starts proving to be potentially hardware, swap the... if you can boot into something like memtest, run memtest. If it won't even do that, I would say that...
You can't, yeah.
If you can't do that, the answer is the cost of a new X99 board is like 50 quid from AliExpress.
Yeah.
You can buy one of those, or you can build a dramatically faster computer by building an i3.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Yeah. Don't want to knock your PC, but X99 is bad and dead, and stop using it.
So yeah, is it okay to install the brand new SSD into a second slot and image the data from the 512? Yes, that's what we were saying to do.
Yes. Cool. Right, this goes on to the waiting parts list. How is my data transfer doing? It's got about 10 minutes to go.
Have you ever had an issue where the PC is working fine, but the GPU light on the motherboard lighting up red, but clearing after reboot, but comes back when you start a game?
Comes back when you start a game?
I see.
GPU light on the motherboard lighting up, but clearing after a reboot, but comes back when you start a game. So GPU light coming on at boot basically means no GPU detected, no display output detected, basically. The computer can start headless with no GPU, but the light will come on to say, I have not found a display output. But I've never seen it come back on after getting through post. I've never seen it go out, start up, and then come back on when you try and start again.
To ask the stupid questions at the starting point, does the GPU that's in the slot give a picture?
Yeah.
Does the game launch? Does the computer otherwise work fine?
Yeah. Do other games work? Have you tried running like a graphics stress test, like Heaven or Superposition, just to confirm that the graphics card is actually functioning as intended?
Also a case of, do different graphics cards in that slot exhibit the same behavior?
Yeah. Bad HDMI cable. That's not out the question, because I think you can have a valid graphics card, but if you've got no monitor connected, I think the GPU light will stay on because it will read that as no display output kind of thing.
I've no idea.
So yeah, a bad HDMI cable, possibly, because like when you go into the game, it changes video modes when it's going to full screen or something. I'm grasping at straws here, but
yeah.
So yeah.
But yeah, also a case of, does the computer otherwise function?
Yeah.
Does the graphics card exhibit issues in other computers? Do other graphics cards exhibit issues in this computer?
Yeah.
So it will at least help you narrow down as to where you're looking.
Right, what was the other one? That's
another display.
That's the other MacBook display. So
go on the other smashed one.
Yep, this one will go on the other MacBook Air. And that one is a silver one, so that's going, and yeah, 2337.
Is that a different model?
It's the same model.
Oh, I see.
So yes, there should be another 2337 on the shelf here. And
it's not the one that's on the 3D printer?
No, that's the one that that's the dead one that I've just put there.
No, the one that's on the bed of the 3D printer. As opposed to the one that's on the frame of the 3D printer.
Shut. That's not a MacBook.
I understand you have a stack of laptops on top of your 3D printer.
That's temporary.
So in 7 months' time...
What is... Oh, yeah, that's this one. That's why. Right, this is the MacBook in question. I was like, why is this already in pieces? But it's because I stole the broken display off of this one to test on that one. Because I knew that this one...
Because this was less broken.
Yeah, this one, it was cracked, but it did actually have a picture through the cracks, which was more than what I had on that. So I was able to verify that it was actually throwing out a picture.
And this is another M1 Mac?
Yes, that's right.
M1 Air.
Yeah. However, this one is straight, so...
With a sticker?
With a sticker.
Oh, I thought that was a sticker where your finger is now.
No.
But no, it was just a change in the reflections. It went like that.
I see. Good.
Yes.
Right, I'm going to put this on.
Power supply? What? Oh, I see. Yeah. Underpowered. Underpowered
power supply.
supply.
I mean, yeah. A power supply issue might be causing the computer to crap out as soon as it gets hit with a load.
Yeah, but that's why I was asking, does the game play properly?
Yeah, again...
Because if the game plays properly and the computer otherwise functions properly, you can also just ignore it.
Yeah.
Because the computer otherwise functions.
Yeah, we do still... Yeah, it still comes back to the original questions of identifying, do we have an issue with the computer running games, or is this a single game that will not run? If we have an issue with the computer running any kind of game or graphical load, then we can start diagnosing whether that's a bad power supply or a bad graphics card or a driver issue or so on. Everything seems to work okay. It might just be a weird BIOS quirk, but if everything is well, I mean, I would be, I was about to say, if everything is working, then what's the problem? But then if I was starting a game and my BIOS diagnostic LEDs were coming on, I'd be like, why is that coming on? So, yeah. Update BIOS. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, update BIOS.
Different graphics card. Different graphics card in that computer in a different... Sorry, that graphics card in a different computer, different graphics card in that computer.
Yeah.
Do either of those combinations give any issues?
Yeah. I'd also just try running the game in different modes. So try running the game in windowed mode or exclusive full screen. Try it in multiple modes. So windowed, borderless full screen, and exclusive full screen, and see what the behavior is in each of those modes, because that's going to change the way that the monitor is being driven. But yeah, given the fact that the game actually works, this is obviously not any kind of critical issue. This must be some kind of just oddball configuration issue, I'm guessing. Whoop. I'm going to need to go over and get some more screws in a minute. I should have all the rest of the screws from this laptop somewhere.
Hopefully. You have many a selection.
Shut.
Many a selection and many a
I told
collection.
you they breed. They're like rabbits.
Is it because every laptop you assemble actually has one fewer screws in it when it leaves?
Well, if you've used up all the screws, then you've done something wrong, so...
Yeah. What are the 3 different coloured tapes on the new screen? I think they were just saying that they were inferring that things had been tested.
Yeah, so we've got light sensor test, LCD test, and cam test. So that's just factory people saying we have tested the functionality of this screen.
Or at the very least, they have applied a sticker saying that the test has been performed.
Yeah. It doesn't mean anything, because I've had replacement screens where the camera hasn't worked, which is super annoying, because it means that you actually have to test the camera yourself on everything that comes in. And typically when stuff like that happens, it'll happen on a customer who needed it urgently, and stuff like that. I'm doing this in the wrong order. Yeah, I had one where I had a massive falling out with the customer because I said I could get it done by this date, and then the screen was late to arrive, and then I put the screen on. The customer showed up on the day, and I was like, okay, I'm fitting it now. So finished fitting it while the customer waited. Then we were sent. Then it all went back out. I was like, sorted. Then they called up like a couple of days later saying, oh, the webcam doesn't work, and I'm like, so then I had to get another one in. And then I had to get that fitted, and so this then incurred another like week delay and stuff, and they were getting more irate as things went along, and it was like, this is just a cascade of unfortunate events that has led to a complete breakdown of the customer relationship.
Yeah. And
it's just sucky when that happens. Sometimes there's just nothing you can do about it, and you can apologize and you can say I'm sorry, but I've done the best I can here. I ordered the parts. It turns out that the part was faulty. There was no way of me knowing in advance that it was going to be faulty. What do you want from me?
Yeah.
I'm replacing it free of charge. Right, I'm going to collect all of the screws from over here.
Well, not all of the screws from over
Well,
there.
there's a load of screws over here. I'm just going to put them all in my hand, bring them over, and see if I can reassemble the laptop from them.
It's not going to be all of the screws. I'm sure there are at least...
All of this laptop will have all of the screws in it that it is supposed to have in it.
Every screw hole
We
will
joke,
be filled.
we joke, but I am doing this properly. Just for clarity, we are joking.
The solution will be the correct solution.
Yes. Wi-Fi
what?
antenna.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Very well.
It's not too bad. I quite like these MacBook Airs. I think as far as Apple goes, I think this is a reasonable display solution per se. Just to show people what I did there, that's the Wi-Fi antenna, this bar thing, and that fits over the top of this is called the T-board, the T-con board. And this circuit board here, this flappy thing hanging off the display, that's basically the LCD controller board, and normally that would be on the bottom of the LCD. Let me just grab another.
Here's one I prepared earlier.
Yeah. So here's a typical 15-inch display panel, and that's the circuit board on the bottom of it. On a MacBook, it's on these little ribbon cables hanging off because there's no room to fit it into the screen itself. For better or for worse. So that goes through there, then we fit this in around it. So yeah, as I say, I don't want to say that I like this setup, but I hate it a lot less than some of the previous MacBook Pros, where like the Wi-Fi antenna has had six P0.8 screws in them or something like that. So 5-point star screws as opposed to Torx, which is 6, and they're really tiny. Imagine like a T3, but it's got 5 points on it instead of 6. So just a bizarro security screw for tiny little screws that you actually can't tighten because they will immediately just shear off. Ask me how I know. It's just nonsense. It's pure nonsense. At least this doesn't have those in it, so it's actually one of the easier panels to fit. It can just be a little bit awkward to take out because it just requires a little bit of force to remove that just makes you a bit nervous when taking it out if you don't know what to expect. However, this one isn't so bad really. The only thing I don't like about this is that there is a little tang where that needs to slot into the chassis, and I'm going to need to get a prying tool in a minute. Oh, there's one here. And basically I just need to brace everything and just press down on that harder than I would like to make it go back in. So, yeah. It's not an inverter board. LCDs don't use inverters anymore. The inverter board was for old LCDs that had cold cathode fluorescent backlights. Ever since the LED LCD screen, we have not had inverters. You could call it a boost board, because but then the boost circuit is on the laptop, not on the T-Con board on things anyway. On this screen, there will be a boost circuit in there, which is akin to an inverter, but not the same thing. The inverter was converting DC from the laptop to high voltage AC for the fluorescent backlight, whereas the boost circuit just boosts the DC up to a higher DC level.
Ask a possibly stupid question, but what's an inverter inverting?
It is a I guess you could it inverts back and forth. It converts DC to AC.
What?
Yeah, an inverter converts DC to AC because it is constantly inverting the current.
Oh, I see.
Going back, it is inverting.
Okay.
Someone else might have a better, I can't think of a better way to phrase that. But yeah, if you have a cold cathode fluorescent, you need AC to drive that. So you had an inverter board that converted DC from the laptop to high voltage AC for the fluorescent backlight.
And every now and then you actually had colours. As opposed to kind of yellow.
Well, they were white when they were new, but they just they turned yellow as they aged. Whereas LEDs, they seem to age pretty well, to be honest. I want to say they will reduce in brightness. Yeah, they get a bit fainter, but I don't think meaningfully so. Yeah. You take it.
Sure.
You're doing chat. I'm fixing the MacBook.
Thank you, Finn, for the 50.
Now you have to figure out what currency that is.
Norwegian krona. I was stuck trying to say Norwegian and failing to sound. I was like, yes, Norgy Coronis. Yes, thank you for the 50.
I thought Sweden used the krona, or do they? Or
yes.
Are they both called the same currency? But
yes.
Just one is Norwegian and one is Swedish.
Yes.
I see. Fair enough.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Finn. Much appreciated.
There's also probably other cronies.
Look,
Croni?
We need to at
Coronas?
We need to at least try not to make jokes about monetary donations, because they are very much appreciated. Thank you very much.
There's also the Danish one.
Yes.
Danish kroner.
They're not even in Scandinavia. Are they? Where's Denmark? Denmark is on the European continent, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, like, below the UK.
I now am going to bring up a map and attempt to understand what you're saying.
I'm having a geography moment.
Oh, apparently we are inside a Best Western.
I see.
So that's Denmark.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
That's
interesting.
Sweden.
Yeah.
That's Norway.
Yeah.
There is a law that says if a Swede walks from here to here when this is frozen, you're allowed to beat them with a stick.
What? Do a display capture and just tell the people what you just told me.
Yes. Hold on.
Because we need to talk about that.
Yes. No, Norway is also in Europe.
Look, shut. You listen here, you little shit.
Yes. So yes.
I mean, like Europe down there kind of thing. You know?
So you see, so this is Europe.
Europe comes up the side. I always think of the United Kingdom with Europe underneath it, and just Scandinavia is just its own thing.
Okay. Also, there's this Iceland, which is also Europe.
Yes, Iceland that is green and Greenland that is covered in ice.
Yes. There's a volcano.
You sounded like you were presenting a children's TV show, and like in Iceland, they live on a volcano.
Basically,
They have lots of heat coming out of the earth that they can warm their houses with.
they call it geothermal.
They have so much that it's actually really cheap to heat their houses.
Yes. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce any of the names, but yes.
Right, thank you very much for the 50 coronas. Crones? Crone?
Because
I'm pretty sure that's the name of a Sigur Rós song. So. What else needs to go on here? Wi-Fi antennas.
yes,
I'm going to carry on fixing this MacBook before I offend some other country.
yes. No. Denmark is part of Scandinavia, yes. Yes. SEK best krona, yes. Time to bring out the globe. Norway is also in Europe. Scandinavian, Finland, Iceland is also Scandinavia, I think. No, there's been zero where I need to grab some sticks. What if it's a turnip? I see. Faroe Islands are also Scandinavia. Yes.
Oh, heck.
Czech Republic has krona too. Interesting. I did not know that one. The Danish war with Prussia would have been tough to fight in Graham's world.
What was that?
That Danish war with Prussia would have been tough to fight in Graham's world.
Well, yes, I suppose, yeah. Did he check if the display works? No, because I'm a hero and I don't test before I put all the screws back in. Don't do what I'm doing right now. Also, remember to put the main display screws in before you screw down the Wi-Fi antenna, which is what I didn't do, and now I have to unscrew the Wi-Fi antenna again. I'm going to see if I can do this without having to remove it.
What didn't? Oh, the right screw and the left screw.
Yeah, it's yeah. I should. Yeah, there we go. I can just lift that up just enough.
Also taped down.
Sort of. The keyboard backlight underneath it has a little bit of sticky on the back, just to stop rattles and things like that. So it is kind of taped down, which is what you're hearing there. So yeah, that's not the main thing holding it together, but it's assisting it. What the hell? It is a T5. There we go.
Why do these screws not work?
USB moment, when you put it in one way, then you go the other, and then you have to come back again.
even when it's Type C.
Yes.
Because actually it's not spec compliant, so it only negotiates one way round.
Oh no. It's funny because it's true.
Thanks, Samsung.
I want to... Every time someone is just like, oh, stupid USB-C, we don't need a new stand. I'm like, no, it's a good thing. I just wish people would implement it properly. It's the problem with so many new standards is it's conceptually good, but implemented badly. And that's just such an annoying position to defend. Because it's just like, yes, we should want this. However, I do agree that it's not been implemented very well.
Yeah. The other thing that's really saying about new standards and stuff, it's really annoying to me, is the fact that DisplayPort 2 hasn't been added to any of the 2024 monitors announced at CES that I've found so far.
Come on, guys. We really need this. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so I can have a 4K 4000 hertz monitor, but I can't actually connect to it.
I was going to say, you know, like, what's the highest that HDMI 2.0 can go to again? Or 2.1?
4K 144 hertz, I think.
Yeah, how the hell are you going to drive any of these new screens then?
DisplayPort 1.4 with DSC. It'll work absolutely fine.
Okay, what's DSC?
It is a truly lossless in-flight compression.
Interesting. Okay, fair enough.
Yes. HDMI 2.1 48 gigabit per second.
Right. Battery.
Yes.
Locking bar for battery. I don't like that battery connector.
Yeah, I think it's effectively 8K 60, 4K 144 hertz technically.
Fair enough.
No.
Yeah, I wonder what the hold-up is then for DisplayPort 2.0 because
I wonder if it's a case of the fact that there are no controllers.
Yeah, maybe there's no practical hardware available for it, but they can do the compression, all of the compression stuff. They can do that in software, so it means that they can just write new firmware for their existing hardware, because that obviously is going to incur a lower development cost.
Reddit has a thing you can do 4K 120. Yes.
$10K, oh my god.
10K 30. 8K. You cannot do 8K.
Are we on bench
120. We shouldn't be. Ah.
Thank you.
There we go.
Huzzah, it works.
Yes. Oh yeah. 8K 60 at any bit depth requires DSC.
Yeah.
Other than 420. Other than with 420.
I assume
chroma subsampling.
Yeah, I was going to say I assume 420 is terrible and bad and will just not look very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That's funny though that 8K 60 in 444 is not possible. But 4K 120 at 12-bit is possible in 444. But 8K at 60 on 8-bit is not possible in 444. That just seems weird because you'd think that this amount of data would be the same as this amount of data. Or certainly that 5K at 60 FPS at 12-bit would be the same amount of data.
Oh
no, that's 60.
Oh, the screen is scratched.
Oh, has it gone through the plastic?
Yeah.
How bad is it?
Don't know. I might. Let's have a look. Is that definitely chipped? Yeah, that's
It certainly sounds like
definitely
it.
a chip. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't me because you all just watched me put this screen on the laptop. Balls. It's times like this I hate this job because now it's just like we sending the screen back or what? What I'll have to do is I'll have to call the customer. Well, what I'll probably do for this is I'll call the customer and I'll say, look, we've got the screen in, but it's got a slight chip in the top right, and I've got a choice. I can go through the rigmarole of sending this back and arguing with the supplier because I'm going to have to convince them that I didn't scratch that, because they're going to turn around and be like, no, we checked this before we sent it out. You scratched it, and I'm going to have an argument with them over it. Or what I might do is just say to the customer, look, it's got a scratch in there. I'll do this at cost price if you don't mind, because then I can just I can take the payment for the screen, get the cost of the parts, and just walk away from the job, basically, and go, well, that sucks because I've lost my time in money. However, it does mean that I don't have to spend even more time arguing with the supplier to get another screen in and doing it all over again.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think also just the fact of obviously because whilst it might not have been the perfect camera angles for it, obviously you fixed it here.
But also, then
So
they could say, well, you know, we didn't see you take it out the box, and you might have looked at it. The box was already unsealed because I unsealed it earlier and went, that's a MacBook screen and stuff, and who knows. Yeah, it's a question of can I be bothered to do the argument? So yeah, I'll have a chat with the customer, and if they turn around and be like, well, no, I'm paying, because cost price on the screen was like 200 quid. So it's now a question of like the customer might say, well, I'm paying 200 quid. No, I don't want a scratch in it. Or they might turn around and because I'll be charging £300 for the repair. So they might turn around and say, well, yeah, I've just saved 30%. I've just saved 100 quid in order to have a tiny mark in the top right that's not on the visible section of the display. That might.
I like that comment though, just in case
there a
if that
sticker
was the
covering
case.
it?
Was there a sticker on that bit of it?
No,
Just like
because I noticed it just then because I started doing the peel, and that's when I spotted it, because I started doing the peel, and when I did the peel I spotted it. I was like, uh-oh, you know. So yeah. Then complain about bad pixels or something and they all refund. I mean, there are no bad pixels on it. So yeah. Well, this is the thing. There's not a doubt in my mind that I can convince them to give me a refund because it's from eBay. eBay will side with the buyer, but it's can I be bothered, or will I just take the cost price just so I can get the thing out of my shop and walk away from the hassle. So yeah. You know what's even more annoying is that the other display is space grey, so I can't even put the other display on it. That's because if I had the other one, I could be like, I would probably not mind so much. But the problem is that this is now going to delay the laptop. Yeah. See what I mean? I was saying this morning how it's been one of those days where all of the repairs are fighting you. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Sometimes you'll have a day when everything is just fighting you. It won't just be fixed. So yeah. All right. Yeah. If it's under the peel, it ain't your fault. Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, it's my word against theirs to all intent and purpose. But yeah, whatever. That's annoying. Okay. Well, I'm going to put that to one side in a huff, and I'll have a chat with the customer on shoot. I'll talk to the customer first. Because if the customer is happy to just give me 200 quid for the job, I'll probably do that, because then I can just walk away from the whole thing. And I haven't made money, but I won't have lost money in a meaningful way. Although I have lost potential income, but it's a question of, do I want to go through the hassle of ordering another screen, arguing with the seller, yada, 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 or do I just want to move on to the next job, you know? So yeah. So yeah, I think you'll lose a customer and get bad feedback. Well, I won't if I talk to them first. It's their, you know, if I give them the decision, you know, they can't give me bad feedback because I gave them the option. they can just say, no, to be honest, I'd like a perfect one. And I'll be like, cool, that's no problem. It'll be another week because I've got to order the part, wait for that to arrive, get it on the bench again. So yeah. Oh well, that's annoying. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'll have to talk to them. I'll have to talk to them either way because it's going to delay the job. Yeah. So yeah, I need to have a conversation with the customer next in order to progress that. So, although I could order another one now just so I have another one on the way, but then I may end up with spares. Come back to that. Yeah. I'm too busy being annoyed now to actually make a decision on that. This is the annoying thing is first you've got to get past the I'm annoyed because the job just went wrong. Grr.
Yeah.
Well, I'll put the SSD back into this Fujitsu and see if that's going to ruin my day as well.
Fujitsu.
Oop.
Are we going to crazy glue a SATA cable onto...
Oh, yes, yes. I wonder where you were going with that then. I was like, what are we crazy gluing together? But
well,
yeah.
actually,
glue.
if you had, I've forgotten what it is, but you could just fill in the crack with the scratch with resin.
I see.
You know, like they do with windscreens.
Yeah. Theoretically, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what you use for that, but as a theory statement.
Yeah. Would that screen might be fixable, yeah. I mean, it would be a refurbished screen at that point, I would say.
Sure.
But however, theoretically, if by some sequence of events I got stuck with it where I was unable to get a refund on it for whatever reason, then that would be a very much a point of interest.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, again, to be honest, at that point, I would be looking to sell it at cost price. I would offer someone, like I say, I would just say to someone, I can do this for you for £100 cheaper, but it's a screen with a scratch in the top right. Because a surprising number of people will quite happily say, sure, I'll have a scratch on the non-visible part of the screen for £100 less. That's £100 I just saved, and the scratch isn't even on the visible section.
Yeah.
So yeah, a surprising number of people will quite happily accept that deal.
No, that's completely unacceptable to me.
Oh yeah. I'm not saying everyone will.
Yeah.
However, a surprising number of people will quite happily accept that.
Seeing that, my response would be to open eBay, open a return, and say, not as described, give me a refund.
Yeah.
And then buy a new one.
Yeah. I think you're right. To be honest, I think that's probably the best way forward at this point.
Yeah.
I think sometimes I'm in the mindset of just trying to get the ticket closed, but yeah, you're right. At this point, because plus also, if like the laptop wasn't going out today anyway, and if I order one now, I'm going to have it by Tuesday, so it's not going to delay it for another week.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's what I would do.
Yeah. All right. Decision made. Yeah. Send it back.
Yeah.
It's just annoying that now
I would send it back, or I would ask the seller, will you give me 50%? Then you've got one here you can sell for £200, still make £100 on.
Yeah.
And also, or, it depends on which is more beneficial to you.
Yeah. No, that makes sense actually.
I would push for returning it for full refund.
Yeah.
But if they flat return that, I would give the option of giving half the money back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if that doesn't work, I'd open a dispute with eBay and say I want a full refund. It was not sold as described. It was not as described, and then win the dispute.
Well, that's just it. Because that's the thing
that will take a week and a half, 2 weeks. Whereas a 50% refund might come back in 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, because I can make offers like that. Because at the end of the day, if I do dispute it, I will win because it's eBay. And the buyer always wins. So yeah, that makes sense. Right, is this Fujitsu going to start now I've imaged the data back to its SSD? Our survey says...
Yes.
Huzzah! Loading spinner. Good, right. This Fujitsu is done. And it has not sent anyone to prison. Oof.
How can you sell something flawed for 200 quid when you can get a perfect one for the same money? Because if you're doing the service of replacing the screen for £200 and the part cost you 100, you are making £100 profit on it. But if you're using a perfect part, you'd be charging £300 profit, £300 on it to include your £100 profit.
Yeah, I mean, the customer could go and buy the screen for 200 quid and get a perfect one themselves, but they're not going to because
they're not going to fit it.
Yeah. They also need to buy the correct one, get it, and fit it, and that's a tall order for a customer. So at the end of the day, I'm offering a discount of free labour with a warranty in exchange for having a flaw on the screen. So yeah.
Also, no, it was just a Windows 10 start sound.
Yes. What was the Windows 7 start sound? Was it the same?
Functionally the same,
yeah,
as far as I'm aware.
That's why. It is running Windows 10, don't worry.
And then the Windows 8 one was different, I think.
I've purged Windows 8 from my memory, yeah.
It was more chimey than synthy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Huh.
Does that need anything else done to it?
I don't... this does need data. Yeah, there's more data. So I've put a bigger SSD in this, and now it has enough free space to take the data from...
Good Lord, it's got 3 USB ports on it.
Yeah, I know. These Fujitsu laptops are weird.
Also...
They're... Oh, yes. Okay, yep. The customer's data is on a label on the back of the laptop, so I need to not show the bottom of the laptop. Where was I? These Fujitsu laptops are weird. They feel like cheap laptops, but also they are business laptops with lots of I/O on them. And despite the fact that it looks 10 years old, it's got a reasonable spec. It's a 6th gen i5 in there with a discrete graphics card that has failed.
So it's 8 years old.
Okay. It's an old laptop, yeah. A lot of people were very offended by me calling that HP laptop a potato in the latest video, and I'm like,
wasn't it a Celeron?
It was an i3, but it had a hard drive and 4 gigs of RAM in it.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, that's because they were just like, oh, that's that's no need to dig at the customer kind of thing. I'm like, I'm not digging at the customer. I'm digging at the laptop. It doesn't have feelings. It cannot be, it cannot be offended by me calling it a potato.
It is an enemy. All right, kid, don't hurt yourself.
Yeah.
If a PC that has worked with an RX 5800 for 6 months now occasionally screen freezes with a 6650 XT, but not under load, just in idle, what could have caused this? Often drivers. Here. I would. My starting point would be display drivers.
Yeah.
I would go extreme on it because it's easy to do so and use display driver uninstaller.
Agreed.
DDU.
I do a mem test as well, just because any kind of random freezes or crashes with a computer is just an automatic do a mem test with me, because just random behavior is typically, well, memory issues will cause random failures because of the nature of what the RAM does. So anytime a computer has a seemingly random crash or freeze, I generally run mem test on it just in case. It's probably not the memory, but Sod's Law says if you don't check the memory, that's what it will have been.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just looking for another job to bring to the counter. I'm going to grab this potato HP, actually.
Is this another potato?
They're all... That's the thing. They're all potatoes.
Ah, I see. That was exceedingly confusing. Thanks, Discord. Ugh. I got a notification from someone else's Discord, and it was tagged up with Adamant IT on it.
Huh. Weird.
And I was like,
Yeah. Yeah. This came back in. I put an SSD in this about seven months ago. Well,
I thought you were about to say 7 years ago.
No. Back in June, I put an SSD in this. It was kind of over the hill at that point, but it was a make good. and it was kind of super gross, but I didn't like it at the time, so I was like, I'm not detailing this PC. I put an SSD in it, I brushed off the worst of the dust just so it wasn't critically overheating, and kicked it out the shop. And now it's come back in with a no post. I think the motherboard or the CPU has failed on this, which is gonna suck. Yeah, this is why you don't fix old PCs, and this is why, like, I mean, it's not that old.
It's Windows 8.
Yes, how can you tell?
It says Windows 8.
Oh yeah. So it's Windows 8 era. So like, it's less than 10 years old, but it was just, yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of grot, this PC. And
nice.
Yeah, this is why I turn up my nose at old PCs, because this happens. You put an SSD in it, and then it comes back in months later with some other fault.
It's also backwards.
Yes. So now at this point, I'm just like, this fault is nothing to do with the SSD I fitted, so I don't owe the customer anything for this. But at the same time, it feels bad to tell the customer that the computer is busted and they may as well go and buy a new one. They're like, well, I only had an SSD fitted to it last year. I'm like,
yeah,
too bad. That's not my problem, but it feels bad having to tell a customer that.
Not your problem.
Yeah, I guess. But then on the flip side, of course, if it is dead, then, hey, we'll buy them an Optiplex and we'll put that SSD in it. So, because if you buy a cheap Optiplex off of eBay, it will come with an SSD, but it will be a really crap SSD. So it's not a bad thing to stick an MX500 in it instead. So I'm going to see if I can get this thing to go. We need to test the power supply, need to take the cooler off, need to reseat the RAM. The only thing I've done is done a BIOS reset on this.
Where the hell's the BIOS battery?
Up there.
Oh, there.
Yeah, that's the only thing I've done with this, is change the BIOS battery and see if a BIOS reset fixes it, and that didn't. So
I have muted my microphone, for I'm going to use the facilities.
Very well. Enjoy.
I will do my best. I'm also going to go and hope that makes it a fraction straighter. Because this corner was in the bottom of the frame.
Oh, I see, yeah.
So I was like, does it being actually straight fix that?
Yeah. Okay, right. I need a DVI to HDMI adapter. And HDMI cable is on the back of the screen. Whoop. Ugh. Okay, right. I shall just plug it in first and just see if it does anything, just to see if it's magically fixed itself. Oop. And I'm also going to just plug in the CMI Zapper Chipmunk as well, because thus far I've had this plugged in and not seen any flashes out of it, which also tells me that the computer is brain dead, which is what makes me think that this thing is a lost cause, because, yeah. Right. Power it to the back. All right. You guys can't see the lights on the Chipmunk very well, probably, but, eagle-eyed among you may be able to spot if there's a green flash. Is there somewhere where I can plug in a beep speaker to this? I don't think so. Does it have a... Oh, it's got a built-in beep speaker, so it should beep if it actually posts. Okay. Scanning down the chat at the moment. Probably RAM. Yeah, I mean, it could be. I haven't reseated the RAM yet. Like, it might just be dust. Might just be dust. Dipped away. What's this HP thing? It's a computer, thank you very much, and it has feelings. And I will hurt its feelings a lot, so... Pretty sure you got the same model HP in your e-waste pile? Yeah. Like, it's got an i5 in it, an old i5, but still an i5. If this had a Pentium in it, I wouldn't even bother looking at it. But then, if it had a Pentium in it, I wouldn't have put an SSD in it last year either. So, yeah. Plugging in a Chipmunk is illegal in North America. Which upscaler from 720p, 1080p are you using? Some cheap thing from eBay. I don't have any particular quality one. It is you. A desire capture?
Do you desire?
Oh, right. No, because it doesn't work. Yeah. Yeah, I'll just say to people if something appears on the screen and you'll have to trust me. So,
Why does capture not work?
because I can't be bothered to plug it in because there's nothing to see. So,
Oh, I see. That I was going to sort that out.
oh, if you want to, yeah. But like, yeah, it's a no post.
No, that's
like
fine.
when it beeps, it means we win, basically. So yeah. Fine. Right. Okay. Well, I'm going to start by reseating the RAM, I guess. I think I've got a. My gut says power supply on this. Because this power supply is grossy enough to have problems. Oh, there's so much smoker's dust in this thing. It's horrid.
Do the pins actually go all the way into the socket?
Yeah. Input inductors are formed of dead cockroaches.
Si says a dead 12-volt rail.
Maybe. Ew, PC3. Really? Oh, yeah, it's going to be 4th gen, like people said, isn't it?
Do you want a sticker? Oh, that's a...
And that's a 2 gig. Oh, it's got 6 gigs of RAM. Yeah.
Do you want a replacement module?
Yeah, that's probably a good idea, just because, yeah, stick that in there. Oh, hang on a sec. Oh, no, that's not low. Yeah, I was... oh, no, that's fine. For a moment, I thought it was low-power DDR3. And I was going to be like...
Did that come in desktop boards?
Rare, but exists.
Huh.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. You'll never see it on a custom build, obviously, but
Yeah.
there are a few OEM PCs out there with full-length DIMM, low-power DDR3 modules in them. Pain in the ass to find. Horrible things, horrible things.
Fair enough.
For laptops, obviously, you see it all the time.
I thought
for
what you
desktop-
were about to do was look at it and go, DDR3, DDR4. That's why it doesn't boot anymore. Because do you remember those DDR3 and DDR4 boards?
I don't remember the DDR3 and 4 boards. DDR2 and 3,
Yeah.
and also DDR1 and 2, I remember the crossover boards. Because it was always a bit weird as to whether they made sense or not.
They didn't.
Yeah, I kind of agree, yeah.
Which is why I'm glad we didn't see it with 4 to 5.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing
Other
any for
than
3 to
probably
4, though.
BioStar.
Yes.
Fucking BioStar.
All right, let's plug in the power supply again as a treat.
Why doesn't this computer work? Oh, it's not plugged in. That's why.
I should probably actually like probe vCore and just see if the CPU is actually getting power. I would imagine it wouldn't turn on if it wasn't getting vCore, but yeah.
LG should sponsor Graham. Yes. LG send Graham all the OLED monitors.
I would accept it. I'm watching for green flashes on the Chipmunk and I'm not seeing any, so I don't think it's going to go. I'm also just waiting to see if it RAM trains, because when I changed the BIOS battery, which was low but not mega flat, it was like 3.05 or something like that, you know. After I did a BIOS reset on it, it did RAM train because it power cycled once. So it did respond to something, but then it still didn't boot. Which is one of the reasons why I don't think it's RAM, because it seemed to respond to RAM training. It's not doing that now, though, after changing out the RAM modules. Also, it's possible that I put it... I've got it in... I've got it in slot 1. I've no idea which slot it's supposed to be in, though.
Wouldn't really matter.
Yeah, I suppose on a 2-slot board it shouldn't matter, should it?
Well, because it'll be 1 DIMM per channel.
Yeah.
Do we have... Oh, we have a built-in buzzer.
Yeah, it's got a built-in beep speaker.
No, I think that's dead.
Yeah. The Optiplex you've got is 6th gen with DDR3L. Yeah, there's there are. I would look specifically for the DDR4 ones, but yeah, they are out there, and they're crazy good value for money. You can get 8th gen Optiplexes for about like £170, 180 kind of thing. And I think that's a solid purchase. Like, if this is dead, that's the direction that I will push the customer in.
You supplying them one?
Yes, yeah. Yeah. Is that a HP Special PSU? No, it is a bog standard thing. It's a Delta Electronics, but it is an ATX power supply. So we could, hypothetically, if the power supply is dead, we could replace it. And if that happens, I'll probably look around the shop and like somewhere I'll have like some old Corsair VS400 or something that I don't want to put in anything else. There's probably one in here somewhere, or in one of the build-up PCs that I'll steal, and just, yeah, I'll probably lob that in there, and just again as a make good. Yeah, still nothing. Power supply time. Delta ain't bad. No, Delta Electronics are fine. That doesn't make it immune to failure, but I wouldn't call it a tin box power supply, no. But yeah, I've got no beef with Delta Electronics, but again, I've replaced plenty of dead Delta Electronics power supplies in OEM PCs before.
Just because lots of OEM PCs have them.
Yes, yeah.
In the same way as, you know, I've replaced lots of faulty Corsair
power supplies.
Power supplies,
because they're common as
there's
muck.
An awful lot of them.
Yeah. When you make something that's cheap and good value, you sell a lot of them, and there's going to be more in the field failures because there's bigger number.
Yeah.
Oop. You just got an i7 Optiplex for $99 US. Yeah. What generation was that one? Because that's the problem. You can buy like third gen i7 Optiplexes, and I'm like, I don't think that's a good buy personally, because you're buying what's basically a 10-year-old computer. And even though theoretically it's got an i7 in it,
that's an i7.
It's still an old PC, and that means that it probably doesn't have a huge amount of life in it. Right, is there anything else I need for this? No, that should turn on. Right.
Suddenly a kilowatt straight through a short. Oh.
Still looks like a no to me.
Yeah, 8th gen and up. Given that's still 6 years old.
Oh, 8th gen is fine. Right?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
8th gen is still Sorry. Yeah, just saying that.
Yeah.
8th gen is still quite old.
True.
So to have it as your minimum isn't being particularly elitist. Was more of a
I
point
see.
I was
Yes.
making there.
Yes, I see. Yes,
You know,
that's fair.
going
Yeah.
8th gen is a minimum isn't elitist.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. For $100 though, that sounds pretty good to me. Yeah. I can't remember the pin out for the EPS connector, so I'm going to guess. There it is. I've got it the wrong way round, but yes, there is 12 volt at the EPS connector.
Why wouldn't there be?
I would expect it to not turn on if we didn't have V-Core, but you never know.
Right, but why wouldn't we have 12 volts at the EPS connector? We've changed power supply to one that works.
True, but it's still not posted, so it doesn't mean anything. But yeah. I don't know. I was just checking that a cutout hadn't kicked in or something like that. Yeah, CPU out. Let's pull the CPU out. That's the wrong power supply. I reached over and I was like, but it's already on off. What? Hold on a moment. All right. CPU out. And because it's a HP, of course it has weird screws on it. Oh. Yeah, I think this computer is going to be a bust. I think I'm wasting my time here. However, before I tell the customer that it's dead and they have to replace it, I want to be sure, basically. Yeah, I think it's a T15 actually, because I've got a T10 in there at the moment and it's pretty loose.
Oh, excuse me. Where's the box gone? There.
Do you have a spare 2nd to 3rd gen Intel kicking about you can get into? Actually, yeah, we got a box of CPU. I'd forgotten about that actually. Yeah, we might actually have a CPU that fits this thing.
That's what I was
Yeah.
doing, because I was going to wait for you to open it and then fish something out.
Yeah.
So we have an i5 3470S, which is 3rd gen. So we'll see what it is.
Right. Paste is dry. I can't imagine it's been overheating though. I mean, it hasn't been. The cooling system isn't in great shape, but
Ah, yes, that paste is
yeah,
afflicted.
that's right.
There.
But however, like these symptoms don't match overheating. If it had been overheating, it would have been cutting out all the time on the customer, and they would have come in about that, or they would have said it keeps cutting out. You know.
Yeah. 3340? i5
3340S. Yeah.
Cool. Have a CPU.
That's handy. All right. Rip that bad boy out. Check
my.
the pins. Pins look good. Fragment of thermal paste has fallen onto the pins. Now I have to get the tweezers.
Is stock cooler bad for all i7s? Depends which stock cooler it is. But if it's the older i7s, so like 8th gen and older, no, not really, because the power usage on them is actually quite low. I think they were 77 watts.
Yeah.
Oh no,
In
6th gen they went up to 125, didn't they?
yeah. However,
but-
Intel's mega power consumption is a recent thing.
Yeah, it started with 10th gen. It stepped up a notch, and then it was 12th gen and onwards, realistically.
Just looking for other faults on the board while I've got the cooler off because I've got better visibility. Although, like, if there was a hole in the board, though, then it wouldn't be switching on, would be my guess.
Yeah. Is Windows 8 even still supported by Windows?
This has got Windows
No.
10 on it. It's a Windows 8 era computer. Okay. I'm just going to... yeah, I'll stick a smidge of thermal paste back onto that, I guess. Unless, where's the... Yeah, could you grab me the freezer? Just because that saves me from having to mount this up. This cooler won't sit. It has to be screwed down. Thanks. That was tactical tape to stop the cooler from wandering. It wanders. It wonders about its future. Alright. Right, stick you on top so this chip doesn't immediately blow up. Activate! Watching the chipmunk. Listening for the beeps. Might be better off putting the chipmunk in the back actually, because it's in a USB 3 port, and that's probably not discrete that's probably discrete USB 3, so it might not even initialize at post. But also though, given that we've got no display output, I think it's academic. I'm gonna plug this guy in the back. I was hoping to have that just because I hoped it might be visible on camera so you guys would be able to see the flash, but I don't think it's actually helpful.
So what is the flashing LED?
The LED flashes when there is activity on the universal serial bus, on the USB bus.
On the US bus?
Yes. US bus sounds strange, but yeah. Yeah, do you want to give them overhead cam just because? Yeah. So the it's still out of sight, whatever. Anyway, yeah. The green light will flash if it detects activity on the USB data lines. And
And there's activity on there even without something plugged in.
Yes, because the CPU will just be polling the data lines, looking for devices, basically.
Cool. Okay.
So if there's activity on the data lines, that means the PCH is doing something, and if the PCH is doing something, it probably means the CPU is doing something. So it doesn't guarantee that your CPU isn't broken, but the PCH isn't going to do anything unless it's told to.
Yeah.
So if the PCH is doing stuff, it probably means the CPU works. So it's a very strong indicator that the computer is actually thinking. And no activity on USB is a pretty strong indicator that the CPU is not doing anything. So, yeah. I kind of want to know if there's any heat in the CPU. I'll turn it off first. There's a tiny bit of warmth in the CPU. So again, there's VCool there. I wouldn't say it's warm, but it's got no load on it, so whatever. Either way, yeah, changing the CPU has not helped either. I think this motherboard is dead. I think this is a waste of time, and I think we're buying an Optiplex for the customer. However, again, that requires me to. The next move is for me to get on the phone to the customer and say, your PC is dead. I recommend this as a replacement. What would you like to do? So yeah. All right, I'm going to put this back together again. I'm not going to spend any more time on this. So yeah, this was none of this is very exciting, I'm aware, but this is kind of what I needed to do today. I had a lot of jobs like this, basically, that just need my attention. So,
May I have the CPU? Please have the customer's CPU.
Put that back in there.
I'm also going to take the RAM.
Do it. And I shall put their RAM back in. I'll put it back together again. I'll try it one more time, just as a Hail Mary. What other jumpers have we got here, actually? Got BIOS recovery. No, this can't be a BIOS issue, could it? Sad day when it's ciderless. It's true. What's the timer on? 2 hours something.
Yeah.
Too late to start a cider?
2 hours 37.
Yeah. Lead Farmer, do you reckon it's worth trying a BIOS flash on this? Like, are we gonna get this? No. Yeah.
Like, how much is an Optiplex? 70 quid?
Yeah. I mean,
how much is a BIOS flash?
It's not
70 quid.
Yeah.
What gives a better user experience?
It's not economically viable to flash the BIOS, but for science, yeah. Laptop, yes. Desktop, doubt. Yeah.
Also, you could fix another computer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't realise they sold 500 gig P3 pluses.
They do.
Yes. Yeah, fix something else.
Oh.
Actually fix something.
Yeah. Sensible people are saying, yeah, make a vid about this one later. Hell no. Absolutely not. This is not worth a video because the chances of it actually working again are very, very slim. New battery, already tried that. It's got a fresh battery in it. Nice try. That was the first thing I did yesterday with it when it came in. I swapped out the battery because I had a mad hope that it would just need a BIOS reset and it would be fine. All right, I'll stick that back on. Yeah, no, I think it's time for them to replace it.
Yeah, it's third gen, so it's 10 years old.
Yeah, like part of me would love a BIOS flash to work because then I could just be like, BIOS flash, I'm not even going to bother importing the serial number and all the rest of it. Just make the damn thing work and kick it out the door. But no, this computer is a decade old, and for very little money, we can replace it with something that is vastly superior.
Yeah.
It's a Mobo, likely a MOSFET. Yeah. Yep. Rough fit. Blah, 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 blah. Hail Mary. Just going to disconnect all the drive. No, we tried it with different power supplies. So that's already identified that it's not a drive. So yeah, it's not that. Right, Hail Mary. Power on. Hail Mary.
There's all of the optical things.
Whoop. Map, map.
No.
Yeah.
9.
That's a no from me, dog. Libre mère.
Hammer. No, I don't think a hammer's going to fix it.
Yeah. No, I don't care. Begone, foul HP.
It is not worth putting a new motherboard in this, or a used one.
Nope.
I don't know how much a motherboard I'd expect to be for
if
this.
you could find one.
30, 40 quid for a M80X motherboard?
Yeah, and then you've got to adapt all the front panel headers to fit it because it'll have non-standard headers.
But even then, how much is a 6th gen Optiplex?
Yeah,
70 quid?
That's the problem. It's the same reason as to why it's the same reason why I mocked that HP laptop. I'm just like, yeah, technically you could fix this. Yeah, technically you could replace parts. You could technically upgrade this. Or you could spend the same amount of money on a replacement computer that's half the age and 4 times the speed.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Yeah, you could do all of these things, but also you could replace it for half the price. You could replace it for the same price with something vastly superior. So it's like, it can be done, but no, you should not do that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's
actual HP Mobo is probably 15 quid on eBay. Yeah, but if I replace, let's say I can find one on eBay for 15 quid. We buy that for 15 quid, and I charge what for the repair? £50, £60, which is my flat fee for servicing it. So we charge let's say we charge 50 quid. So we charge £65 for parts and labour for a 10-year-old motherboard that could fail in another, now I've got a warranty on that. That conks out in 3 months. The customer comes back in with the computer again, and they're like, oh, it's died again. And it's just like, what then? Or we could just replace the computer with something that's vastly superior for not a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's the problem. This is what beyond economical repair means. Yeah, that's the thing. It's just, we can do this. Is it the right course of action? No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I'm going to find something else to work on.
Absolutely.
Right, okay. The HP is kill. Got an Envy desktop down here that has a dead motherboard, and I can't find a new motherboard for it, so we need to rebuild it as a new PC.
Interesting.
That could be fun.
What's this? I want... Oh, wow. No, none of them.
Or at least we need to see if it's possible to rebuild this as a new PC. This is kind of an interesting project, I think.
Oh, wow, that's super small. I didn't realise that was that...
Yeah.
Good lord, that's tiny.
Yeah, those are super cool.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, however, also they have like ultra low power CPUs in them. I think they have potato CPUs.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah, they're thin clients, basically.
But it was just the fact that I was just like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But also, that price is not cool.
You can find them cheaper than that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, they're thin clients, basically. I've seen them before, but I've never actually tried one out to see if it's actually vaguely pleasant to use.
Yeah.
I suspect the answer is no.
Sodding processor has this got? Oh, a 3770. No.
All right. So, this has a really bizarre BIOS fault, which means it won't post unless you reset the BIOS. So you have to reset the BIOS on every boot up.
Also, what the hell is that graphics card?
It is a graphics card.
Is it though? Or is it actually just a 2D display output?
Graphics. I don't know. It doesn't have written on it what it is. Graphics. polygons.
Ah, yes. It's a HP LO4898.
Graphics. Anyway.
So what were you doing? Just building a new computer?
Yeah, so basically this has a dead motherboard, and we can't... I suppose we should probably check eBay again, just in case a different motherboard has popped up. So do you just want to get eBay open and just search for...
eBay.
What the hell is this thing?
Is there not a part number on the sticker?
Yes, but I think we'll have more luck searching for the model number of the computer. Well, we'll try both.
Which is?
Try HP 795 motherboard. That's where I would start. It's a 795-0006NA. No, that doesn't look promising. Yeah, that's not giving anything vaguely relevant. So no, okay, let's try motherboard number.
What?
Don't actually know what you call this motherboard.
Is it not just on that white sticker there? The HP part number, is it not about there?
Yeah, we could try that one.
Is it 795 dash something?
Yeah.
Because there are motherboards listed like this.
That's different. 795 000. No, it's 795 dash something or other. So yeah.
Oh, I see. No, but there are just boards listed like that. So it's a case of there might be one.
No, that's not it. Yeah, like it's completely the wrong shape, etc., etc. We're not.
Oh no, close. I'm not saying this is the right board. I'm just saying there are boards listed by part number.
Yeah.
So searching by part number.
Oh, I see what you
bring
mean.
Up boards.
Oh, okay.
So please give me the numbers.
Yes. I'm not seeing a number that looks like that. Is the problem? Try PGSWD0. There's more to it than that, but let's just start with that. No matches found. No.
Hand knitted cardigan.
I didn't think so. That's why I was doubtful. That just doesn't sound like a board number to me. I think the board number's on the back. Oh, I'm going to take it apart.
Oh.
The front panel's got to come off first. What the hell is holding that up? I think the optical drive needs to come out first. Woosa. I hate these things so much. There we go. Here we go. That's a board number. Let me just take that Wi-Fi card out. Whoop.
Guessing the GPU is a GTX 750.
Yeah. Just realised I was just leaning over everything. All right, try 17525-1.
There we go.
Now we're talking.
£109.
9th gen. Yeah, we've got 8th gen in here, but 8th and 9th go in the same boards, don't they?
It's also possibly the only result.
Yeah. That wasn't there the last time I looked.
Or an air filter for a Chevy.
Love it, yeah. Yeah, let's look at that top here, because 110, yeah, 110, that's a good option for the customer, because the only reason why we were looking to rebuild this was just because when I actually diagnosed this board, there were just none on eBay. That is a match. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Dyson 21L CFL Berks. Yeah. Yeah, I like the look of that. Just come off the picture so I can see the details. Used 941 802.601. Ah, there we go. Yeah, 941.802-001. So it is a slightly different revision. But again, a 9th gen board, that's going to take an 8th gen CPU, isn't it?
What was the number off of the board again? 941.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
941.802-001. No. You're just going to say you don't find boards like this.
No.
Yeah.
But it was just a case of because this one was there.
Yeah. I'm very surprised that one has popped up, if I'm honest, because the problem is that the board is what fails in these computers. The only reason, the only reason why you wouldn't break one of these computers for parts unless the motherboard had failed. For any other reason, you'd fix it. So you just don't find motherboards for it because, there's just no reason. So you just can never find the boards. I'm kind of tempted to take a punt on that motherboard. I think I'm going to do that.
So what? Oh, I see. You were going to take the processor.
Yeah, I was going to take the CPU, RAM, SSD, drives, graphics card. I was going to take all of that and try and build another PC with it. However, that was when I believed I would not be able to find another motherboard.
Is it a standard ATX power supply? Is this a standard ATX
looks
power
like
supply?
it's SFX to me. Oh no,
Sorry,
it's
does it have a
12.
standard
It's 12
connector?
VO. No,
Okay,
it's 12
it's 12 VO.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
you'll need a power supply anyway,
that's
which is
right.
50 quid.
Yeah.
Motherboard is 50 quid.
Yeah, absolutely. It's by far
Case
and away.
is 20, 30 quid.
Yeah.
So it's a case of the price difference isn't that great.
Well, run those numbers again. So what, 30 or 40 quid for a power supply?
50 quid for a power supply.
50 quid for a power supply.
50,
50 quid for a case.
for a motherboard.
Then another 50 quid for a case because you can't put an ATX motherboard in this.
Yeah, and there's saying, I don't know, you could also just use any other cheap case. Because it is still...
Yeah, we want something that's actually nice by the end of it as well, though.
So but it was purely a case of just...
It's not going to be rebuildable for less than £150 parts, I don't think. It's like 150 quid to rebuild it into a custom build, or
which is only £50 different to the price of the motherboard. So it's saying actually that's surprising how similar you could do it for.
Yeah, and that puts the customer onto a custom build, which is better in the long run.
Is it?
I would say so, although I guess it's not going to make a difference because we're rebuilding a midlife cycle computer anyway.
Yeah.
So it's neither here nor there, really. So
I would say because we found the board, it's not bad.
I think let's see. One shot, you'd have to warranty a board you'd never get again. Yeah, maybe. Compared to the price of an Optiplex complete and keeping the other parts as well. Well, an Optiplex is going to cost me 150 to 160 quid for the whole computer. Yeah.
But is that going to be better?
Well, even if I get one with an i3 in it, I can just, if I buy an 8th gen one with an i3 in it, I can just drop the i5 out of this in there. So actually, an Optiplex isn't an awful idea. So yeah.
Will an Optiplex accept a full height graphics card? Because I thought all of the modern Optiplexes were not full
you can get
ATX.
you can get the micro ATX sized ones. So yeah, that's possible. Yeah. Check all the ports for broken bits. The motherboard is dead. I spent like a day diagnosing this on a video that got thrown out. The motherboard is dead. So yeah. Optiplex, no RAM, no CPU for 70 quid. Yeah, I could look for one that's missing parts. Yeah.
upsell the customer on one of the PCs we built a couple of months ago.
Could do. None of them really match the form. None of them really match what we have here, though. So I'm not feeling that. I have another customer who I'm doing that with, but yeah, this one ain't that, Chief. Although that much being said, there's no reason why it doesn't have to be. Like hell, we could just put these parts in the hell crack, which I'm still trying to get rid of, and that's actually not an awful idea. Yeah, because like I wanted to reuse their CPU, for example, but there's zero obligation to use the CPU, and because when we actually drill into it, all of the price points are basically the cost of replacement computers anyway. So that means that there's actually very little incentive to reuse the CPU, because when we reuse the CPU, we're bound to 8th gen Intel. Whereas if we say, okay, forget reusing their CPU, just reuse the drives and stick the graphics card in there.
I mean, is it a high-end i7?
It's Core i5 8th gen, so it's going to be like an 8400 or something like that is my guess. Let's have a look.
So I was going to say, it's not overly special.
No, absolutely not.
So, yeah.
I'll have a quick nosy just in case it's... well, I can't see a world where this has got an 8600K in it.
No.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, eFuses are not really a thing. There's only a couple. There's only maybe a couple of Lenovo's or something like that. Very few people do the whole eFuse thing. Is the GPU worth saving? Probably not, if I'm honest. Like, if we can lob it in the replacement computer, I will. But yeah.
Yeah.
Might even be a T, which is us. Yeah.
As long as it isn't an S or a T, then yeah.
Yeah. I've got thermal paste all over my fingers. It's an 8400.
Flat.
Yes.
Oh, that's not awful then.
No, it's not an awful computer. It's not even that old.
Well, no, but it was just a case of if
What
it was
the hell
like
is that label?
if it was like an 8400T or something,
Yeah. Hold on.
it wouldn't be overly worth saving.
What the hell is that?
What? Huh.
There's a label on this.
Odd. What?
Well, I'm just thinking, I mean, I've just found a label on the CPU, and I'm just trying to think, is there any possibility that that could cause the symptoms that there's a label on the IHS. Yeah, I'm just trying to think, yeah, go to Benchcam. Yeah, can you keep the, yeah, but I don't have a preview, so I don't know where we're looking at the moment. Yeah, like, I've just found this, there's a label there. It's buried under the thermal paste, so I've got to dig it off. But yeah, there's a label on the CPU. I'm just trying to think if there's any world where that could cause the symptoms that this computer has, but there isn't. That could cause overheating, but we don't have overheating symptoms. So no. So yeah. So that's not correct, but there's no world where that could be causing the faults that this computer is suffering from.
Yeah, and it's not in the middle.
So yeah, it's not in the middle. It's an 8400, so it runs on an 11 battery, and blah blah blah. Yeah,
I was gonna say the 8400 is like 50 watts, isn't it?
Yeah, like that's very perplexing. That's a very clear build quality issue. Like, I don't know how on earth that has happened, but there's no world where that is the cause of the problem with this PC.
Certainly not needing to clear the CMOS on the board to...
Yeah. So the point is, this changes nothing, basically.
Yeah. Just weird.
Yeah. All right, whatever. I'm going to stick this back in. Yeah. I don't know what I want to do now. Yeah, I
If
actually
you can, if you
think
can
selling
get,
them the Hellcrack is actually the way forward.
if you can get an 8th gen Optiplex, for like 70 quid,
Yeah.
then
well,
that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, let's have a look, shall we? Yeah, stick it on display capture and let's have a look for Optiplexes. So, what model number are the 8th gen Optiplexes? You know this stuff off the top of your head.
Recursion.
Not even going to attempt to flash a clean BIOS on this? No, I've been through all of that already, Pianov. I did a BIOS flash. I spent like a day working on this. The board is dead. I don't know what the hell is wrong with it, but yeah, it was very strict. Although you're making me doubt myself now because I haven't taken the ROM chip out of it.
Ah, yes, Intel Pentium Gold.
The problem is, it was a while back that I looked at this because the customer didn't make a decision for ages, and now I'm having a lot of doubts about this PC. Also, especially because, as Pianov just said, I haven't tried flashing a clean BIOS to it, and I'm like that. I don't know why I didn't do that. Why did I not do that? Why didn't I try and flash the BIOS? Because that seems like an obvious thing to have tried to do. I'm just going to look real close because maybe I just know that chip has definitely not been removed. Why didn't I flash the BIOS on this? You tell me, Caradog.
I don't know.
Let's flash the BIOS. The problem is I think it's going to be intermittent. Let's see what it does. Because the problem is I think if I put a battery in this and start it up, it's going to work. And I think it's going to work for like 10 reboots and then fall over again. Let's get that heckin' label off of the CPU. All of these repairs are going extremely jankily. And it's making me go, "Arr." Wow, that label's on there pretty good.
There don't appear to be any of the larger Optiplexes.
Oh. I mean, we could put it in the SFF one. Like, I don't think that they actually care about this graphics. This graphics card is probably so low powered that it's functionally irrelevant.
Oh.
Not sure why these kinds of graphics cards exist, to be honest, because like in the old days it would be a multimedia graphics card for HD video playback and stuff like that, but you do all that on the CPU anyway.
125 quid, buy it now for 9th gen Optiplex i5.
Alright. Let's power this damn thing up and make me look like an idiot when it suddenly is a really easy fix. I hate it when this happens, when you come back and revisit a computer and you just suddenly spot something that you didn't do and you're like, why did I not do that? How did I miss this? Makes me think I've gone mad. Alright, thermal paste, and then I'll come over with a... I'm just going to fire it up first and we'll just see what it does.
Nothing. Maybe.
Well, that's the thing, it'll boot, it'll start if you reset the BIOS. But the problem is, like, because this computer came in and out a couple of times where I thought it just needed a new BIOS battery. We had it working, we serviced it, we kicked it out, it came back next week, same issue. So I then spent a load of time trying to diagnose issues with the BIOS not getting power from the CMOS battery. Oh, I remember. It was draining CMOS batteries. That was the problem. It was rinsing CMOS batteries. You'd leave you put a brand new battery in there, and it would drain it overnight. Like a brand new battery would drop to like from 3.3 volts, it would drop to like 2.9 overnight with a brand new battery in there. That's what happened. That's why I was dicking around with checking the battery circuit. I was looking for shorts on RTC I was looking for shorts on the RTC circuit, and I couldn't find any. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with it, but it was draining batteries. So yeah, that was the issue. And that's why I called it dead, and that's why I didn't try flashing the BIOS, because I'm like, well, the BIOS can't drain the battery. That's a PCH issue.
Certainly when it's
So
off.
yeah, that's why I didn't do it. Yeah. Whoop.
Yeah.
Cat with low ohms, almost short. Yeah, I mean, there was no low resistance on the RTC circuit. Power was getting through, but yeah. Yeah, I forget. It was it was before Christmas that I was looking at this. That's the problem. Dead CMOS battery diode? No, it wasn't that. I tested that and it was fine. I couldn't see any faults with it, so the only explanation was just some kind of weird partial short in the PCH or some nonsense like that. So yeah. However, yeah, either way, we come to the same conclusion that it's a dead motherboard. So yeah. I guess we could have a look with the thermal cam, but like, I don't think you're going to see anything on an RTC circuit. Need to check the current draw on the coin cell battery on microamps range. Should stay below 20 microamps. Yeah, okay, well, let's check that for funsies, because I was struggling to come up with a hard this is what's wrong with it, so yeah. Because I really wanted a diagnostic on this one when I was making a video on it, thank you, because that would have been perfect. All right, so how can we measure this then? So we're going to go milliamps, microamps.
Ha. You're good. You're less good. You're fine.
Good enough. Right, let me get a battery. Oh, I should probably actually check that this random battery I've picked up actually has some power in it.
3.1.
Yeah, it's good enough. It's good enough for testing. Right. Then it can be a leaky cap, something to do with the SIO. I see. Or, of course, as you guessed it, PCH. Yeah. All right. Let's go to microamps. Right. How the hell are we going to do this then? So the bottom is negative. I'm not actually sure what the best course of action is for measuring this.
Wouldn't you put it in the holder?
Well, because I'm measuring current, I need to be in series.
And then push the thingy.
Yeah, I need another wire. Yeah.
Why do you need another wire?
Well, just so we need a jumper wire to get out of the coin cell the socket, basically. Because I need to be in series with the battery.
Yeah, so why can't you put the battery in there and then put the probe in there to hold that away and then use this to
like
create
that.
the circuit?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at. I'm just trying to figure out how to do that. Because the problem is, well, if I put that in, it's not going to touch the bottom thing. That's the issue. It's I guess I could go across the negative. It's just kind of super jank. That's the problem. Yeah, crocodile clip. Can stick the battery negative end on the case. Oh, yeah. And then put the probes from the positive of the battery in the holder. Yes. Like it. I like it. Right, so we're grounding through the case, basically. Right. Bam. Maybe. That's nothing. Or have I got the... Do we need to be going the other way around here? Battery, one probe, second probe on battery, contact pushed away. I can't hold it all in that position. So yeah. So yeah, bottom is negative and PSU shell is negative. Yeah, that's what I thought. Explain it to me like I'm 5. So yeah. CMOS ground might not be the same as case ground. It should be, because it's going to be common, right? I mean, we can easily test that anyway. CMOS ground test first, yeah.
Oh, sigh. Use a bit of paspapri.
I don't know what that is. Right, okay,
it's
right.
PPPE.
Yeah, CMOS battery ground is common ground. So yeah, case ground is the same. So that's the correct way round. So it's just a question on whether I put my probes the correct way round. Although if my probes were backwards, we would just get a negative reading, right?
I was just making sure there wasn't a weird lip or something.
Yeah. Maybe not making good contact on the bottom of the battery. Yeah, let's press. I'm going to press super hard.
Paper shut ass. Yes.
Right, and we've got to go negative, positive to negative, and then to there. 'Cause we're in series. Right, I'm going to press this together pretty good. Nah, that's doing nothing.
Can that even range low enough?
Yeah, we're in microamps.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to... I'm really bad at measuring... I don't have a lot of experience measuring current, so I'm always doubtful that I'm doing it right. Because I've just never used the current range. Yeah, so we're getting absolutely nothing there. So yeah.
Flip the terminals?
Positive on the negative. Yeah, that's what I thought, but I've just tried both, so yeah. Yeah. And yeah, we're on the milliamps socket. So put a piece of plastic between the battery and the battery pushing pin. But why?
So it then has to go through the multimeter. So you just stick that in the socket. There's something blocking the contact there, and you put the probe on the end
I
there
see,
and push
yeah.
that on the top.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah. Just in case, again, we're still getting a really bad contact through here. Yeah. Okay.
Is your DMM fuse good?
That's a good question.
What is a DMM fuse?
Well, this is a digital multimeter, so is the fuse in my multimeter blown?
Multimeter.
Yeah.
How do you test that?
What's a quick way of testing this? Check motor directly across cell. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, because basically we can just short the cell and see if it starts passing current. This thing can't pass enough current to explode, so that's, yeah. You might be right.
Your multimeter is less multi.
Yeah. What if we go to amps and check the amps range? I've never had any accidents with this meter. You know, I've never put it across something and had a bang or anything like that. So yeah, there we go. I got a result out of that. So it's it looks like my milliamps socket is dead. Yeah, my milliamps socket is dead. So yeah, might be a blown fuse on that. Okay, that's fine.
Time to get a different multimeter.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to grab my my Aneng and see if that wants to play games today.
The multitude of multimeters.
I don't actually have that big a collection of multimeters. I need to buy another nice multimeter just so, yeah, because as I say, my AN8008, I don't trust this at the moment. However, it's been a while since I've used it, so I can't remember specifically what issues I was having with it. I'm just going to see whether it just sits and works first. All right, the battery is still good, so that works. Yeah, that was the problem. See, look at that. Just in continuity mode, I'm getting 50 ohms on it. However, if we go to current measuring, we might be okay. Let's go milliamps, and we'll just quickly give that a quick flash. Oh, yep, that measured. Okay, right. Let's try that again. Well, you got to make a noise when you're doing something that you know it's not going to like. All right. What?
It was also just the fact that it sounded genuine, like something actually had just gone wrong there, and you were just going, "Ah!"
Oh, we still got nothing. It's sitting on 0.03, 0.02 microamps at the moment.
What if you take the probes off?
It doesn't change. So it's not just measuring super low, it's just not measuring anything.
Yeah.
Ah, my days.
Sell them your hell crack.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't feel like I'm making progress here, and I'm sitting trying to do diagnostics that I'm not very familiar with on a live stream, which is not the time when I'm actually learning. So yeah, needs power in circuit to trigger a driver or MOSFET. What does that mean? So yeah,
Surely battery is power.
Yeah. We suspect that the battery is low in the multimeter, which might be why it's not very accurate, but that doesn't explain it getting a null reading here. Whereas we're just getting nothing here. So, like, yeah. We're getting no response on this. Is the battery we're testing good? It was, because I tested it just before we started it. We'll test it again just for good measure. I'm about to give up on this because
Do you need to swap the probes over?
Oh yeah, for voltage. Yeah, good shout. Yeah. For a voltage check. And battery. Yeah, battery's still 3026. It took a slight hit because I shorted it when I was doing the current testing, but it's not dead because it just had a quick flash. So yeah. This is I got a fresh cell for this one, Si. So yeah. Even if we get a useful reading, I don't see that telling us something useful.
Yeah, I still think the answer is a case of either buying one of these optiplexes.
Yeah, and a BIOS flash isn't going to stop it from draining CMOS batteries. I can't see a world where that would be the case. So, yeah. Seen a lot of the BIOSes fail for this board, but yeah, but why would that cause it to drain a CMOS battery? That's the thing. How does that work? Yeah. Yeah, this is the thing, is just like, we can come up with theory. At this point, we're doing an autopsy.
So what is the computer in the Hellcrack?
It's got a 5600G in it.
Oh, I see, yeah, that one.
Yeah, so,
yeah.
That's the thing, is I'm just,
Just take out the graphics card from that and sell them that. If there is one in there, I can't remember if we put anything in there. Yeah.
Bad diode that prevents the reverse charging the CMOS battery. Yes, but flashing the BIOS doesn't fix that. So yeah. I did measure that diode when I was doing diagnostics on this, and while I can't remember what it measured, I remember that I didn't find anything out of the ordinary there. Because as I say, I recorded like 2 hours of footage of me painstakingly reverse engineering the BIOS circuit, going, this is what the real-time clock circuit does, because I thought I was going to get a cracking good video out of it, but I just got nowhere basically. So yeah. No, I'm giving up on this. I don't like this. I'm not feeling this. I don't see there being a useful fix of this motherboard. And yeah, just I have a suspicion that even if we get to the root of this, the answer is going to be a that's not worth fixing kind of thing. So yeah. Board I found is $85 shipping. Exactly. We've already found a replacement board for this. So, yeah. I
mean, the thing that's best for you is selling them the Hellcrack.
Yeah, that would be more expensive, though. Because I don't want to sell that at 150 quid kind of thing.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
The thing that's best for you is upselling them to that.
To a completely different system, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing that's best for you. The thing that is possible is getting a new board for £109 off of eBay.
I kind of want to go with the new board.
Or, replacement board.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
Well, replacement board, yeah. I'm kind of feeling...
The question is whether you are obligated to provide any sort of support on that motherboard that you get from eBay.
I mean, it's only got to last 6 months, I guess, but as per what I was saying with other computers, it kind of sucks if you sort of crawl across the minimum warranty line and then hope it doesn't fail. The only difference between this and the old PC is that this is a newer computer, but the problem is the same, is that do you really want to replace parts that you don't fully trust? So by that argument, no, don't get the board. So, yeah.
I guess also the fact that if there is one that's available in China.
I'm not buying it from China, no, absolutely not.
No. But statement, if there is also one in China, that means they do exist, even if they are in low volume. That means if it came down to it and the person came back in 2 months' time and said, I want a replacement board for this, it's failed again, there is that long chain of just a case of another board is available if that was the solution that was demanded of you. Or you could just replace the computer. But I'm just saying, going for a replacement board isn't a terrible option.
Yeah. Also, though, I hate these PCs and the boards do fail all the time. So that is a strong argument to not replace the board because it will probably fail again.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, no.
Certainly upselling them to the Hellcrack is the best option for you.
Yeah. No. Go to a replacement computer. We'd already agreed that we were going to try and rebuild a new computer with parts from this. So I'm going to go with the Hellcrack and just put their SSDs and their RAM in it and stuff like that, because that brings down the cost of that PC.
Can you put the RAM in there? Oh yeah, it's 8th gen, isn't it? Yeah,
that's right. So yes, go back to the original plan.
Yeah. That works.
Yeah. So in which case, I'm pulling the drives out of this thing.
What's the little thing above the hard drive?
That's an optical drive bay.
Oh, I see. Yep. It kind of looked like a weird, oversized M.2 sled.
Yes, I see what you mean. Yeah.
I was just like, what?
Yep.
Why is there hot swap M.2 on this machine?
Yeah. I'm vexed. This stream was supposed to be just finishing off a lot of small half-done repairs. You know, just like sort of, this screen is coming to stock. I'll just fit this to this laptop. And, this laptop just needs the data imaging over to it and stuff like that. But I just keep running into awkward issues. So I'm just like, this isn't going as planned kind of thing, you know.
So?
And that makes me stressed.
We're still reaching resolutions.
Yeah, I guess. It just kind of sucks when I feel like I'm not getting any. I feel like I'm not getting any wins right now, and those stack up. You know, there comes a point when you're like, "Can I please just have a win?" You know. Right, hard drive, SSD. We'll have the RAM. I don't think we care about the CPU. What is this RAM?
What did we work out it was? Was it a
8400? Yeah, like, oh, well, I won't bin it.
No. But
You
I was
know.
just kind of going, it's not worth doing anything with, really,
No.
is it?
I won't throw it out, but
No.
I'm not going to bother pulling it out of the PC right now.
Yeah.
Although I suppose we could and just stick it in the CPU thing. It's 2666 RAM.
It'll all come together next week when you have a day you invoice 10 jobs and kick them all out. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
It's kind of how it all goes, isn't it? You have
That's
a day
it.
that feels like absolute arse,
Yeah.
or 2 days that feel like arse, and then suddenly the third day you're like, oh, I kicked out 12 jobs
Yeah.
today because everything clicked into place today.
Yeah. I know that there are days when it does go to plan, but it still sucks when you're having a day that's not going to plan.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It just doesn't make me feel better right now. But yeah.
Yeah, keep it because at some point you'll chuck it in an Optiplex with someone. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
also true.
absolutely. Yeah. Right. I tell you, I think I'm going to pull out the CPU again anyway because I'm basically gutting this PC at this point. We're just going to gut this thing.
The power supply's not worth anything, is it? Oh, actually,
I will take it out because it will be. There's a very strong chance that at some point another one of these might come in with a dead power supply. The power supply is worth keeping. So yeah.
Yeah.
That day's called Monday. Yeah. Let's see.
What are the pins here?
That's for transistor testing.
Oh, I see.
You can test your BJTs in there. So yes. Andy says, did I have a chance to have a look at the motherboards that you dropped in last year? I have had a look over those, yeah, with the dead sockets on them. However, at the moment, my project to start doing socket replacement has just not materialised. It's something that I had very strong desires to do last year at the time when you brought them in. However, at this point, I still want to get into socket replacement, but with where I'm at the moment, I'm like, yeah, no, that's just a complete rainy day, one day, sometime kind of project. So at the moment, I think it's a no, if I'm honest. So yeah, like if you want to leave those boards with me indefinitely, feel free to. However, if you have other intentions or you want to try another fix with them, then I would say come and get them. But yeah, as I say, I've been sitting they're not forgotten because they've been sitting on the side and I keep looking at them every day. However, also, every time I get a bit closer to doing socket replacement, I'm like, yeah, we're still nowhere near having the equipment to do it. I need a board heater and I need a mount to hold my hot air station, and I'm just still missing loads of parts, basically. So yeah, I thought I was close to being able to do it, but I'm not. Back fan is also worth it? No. I've got a box full of fans. Use the mini hot plate under it. No, that's way too small, bro. Screwdriver. So yeah, sorry to come up empty-handed after sitting on them for ages, but I think since you asked, I'm going to be realistic and go, no, I'm not actually doing anything with those. I had good intentions, but I got to be realistic.
It's a proper like puck CPU cooler on that as well, isn't it?
Yeah. No idea. You could try bashing in the HP part number on it.
Yeah.
See if we can find out what it is. Sure, can stay with you until you want to get around to them. Yeah, that's fair. Can the slide top part be replaced? Maybe. Yeah, let me take another
Apparently
look
it's
at
a
that.
1050 Ti.
Oh, that's not bad. Like, it's not good, but that's a lot better than
Oh
I
my
expected
God.
it to be.
What is that price?
Yes, £263.
Oh, no thanks.
Yeah, for a 1050 Ti, no. Yeah, that's better than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, God.
Yeah, like that's actually worth not throwing out.
How is it a 1050 Ti?
Well, it didn't. Yeah, the 1050 Ti didn't require external power. In a way,
It did, though. The 1050 Ti required a 6-pin.
Well, most of them had a 6-pin, but it doesn't pull that much power, does it?
They were like 90 to 100 watt cards.
Really?
They did do a
Yes, that
bus
might-
powered one, but
Yeah, I was
they
gonna say that-
massively downclocked it.
Yeah, that might be
Which is a shame.
that might be hilariously underclocked to get it
Yeah.
to run off of a PEX slot. Then, yeah.
But also the fact of because it's only because it's only sub 75 watt, 3-phase doesn't make any difference. Well, actually, it's 2-phase plus 1.
For the memory, yeah.
But still, yeah.
I tell you what would probably be more fun to end this stream is just to fire that up and have a giggle at it. But also, we are at 3 hours 30.
And last week was 4 hours.
Yeah, we did a 4-hour stream last
3
week, and
hours
it was
30.
a lot more fun than this one. So yeah.
Graham drinking and going on a rant.
Yes, whereas right now I'm sober and extremely demotivated. So, yeah. All right. I'm taking the power supply out of this. I'm going to put this back together again and we're going home. Bollocks to all of this.
Bollocks to all of you.
Yes.
Is this... Oh, do you have a funny... Does it need a funny star thing? Oh, no, it's got a slot on it.
Yeah, but, well, I've got the correct thing on here anyway, so just...
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Because all the rest of them have got these screws on.
Oh,
It's
I
a
see.
HP. They can't use just normal screws. They have to use... They are... yeah. You know what? I want to whinge about HP having weird Torx screws that also have a slot across them, but also Torx is objectively superior to Phillips. So... And, like, you know, you should have a Torx screwdriver set anyway, so in a way, it's kind of a good thing that they have weird screws. I want to be mad about it, but also, can I really be mad that they're using a better screw?
Yeah. The Yes, I was just trying to think about what the most modern bus only graphics card is, and I think there's a 1650 that's bus powered only.
Do I care about that?
What, the weird proprietary?
Yeah, no, I don't think I do. Because I'm taking the power supply just because it's not out of it. There's a non-zero chance that I'll see another one of these PCs with a dead power supply, but I'm going to care about that, not that. So no. Plus also,
Oh yeah,
that I think
it's apparently 80 plus gold.
yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's not a shit power supply, you know. These things do fail, but this is not a terrible power supply, all things considered, you know.
Yeah.
These things, yeah. It's a modern power supply. All right.
Excellent.
I think I've had my money's worth
Are you
out of
gonna
that.
stick this back in?
Yeah, I don't care about that. There's like that looks like it might be a CPU cooler that's worth keeping, but also it's possible that it's got weird threads that will only fit that back plate, and that back plate is probably integrated with the motherboard in some horrifying way, or is just
It's probably actually mounted to the case.
yeah, it could be mounted to the case. Yeah, it is surprising, but a CPU cooler like that is not as useful as you might think it is. So no, I don't care about
Yeah.
that.
12 volt only is always gold. Yeah.
Since that was part of the standard. Oh, that's
Yeah.
kind of cool. They made that part of the standard.
Yeah,
I mean, it
that's
makes
good.
sense because like that was the point of 12VO, was to be more efficient. So it kind of doesn't make sense to enforce 12VO and then let people stick bronze power supplies in
It
there.
was also to make the power supplies themselves cheaper,
Okay, yeah. I suppose that makes sense, yeah.
indirectly, just because they don't need, obviously, any of the other voltage.
Am I going to be a magpie and keep the DVD drive?
Is it just a DVD drive?
It is a DVD CD rewritable drive.
Oh, then no.
So not sure.
No, because it's not a Blu-ray reader drive.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Because if it was Blu-ray and DVD and CD, then yes.
Yeah, that's magpieism.
If it's DVD only, you can probably pick up another one for like 40 quid.
Yeah. Don't care. All right.
Bum, 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 bum.
Sag. All right. let's review, everyone. We had, I mean, the first MacBook, it did work, but still didn't have the parts, so couldn't really complete that one.
So you just need you need the case.
Yep. The
And
second
also you
one
wanna
has
do
a
a
chipped
video.
screen, so I've got to send the screen back and order another one and fork out another 200 quid before I get a return on the job.
Yeah.
I'll eventually get all the money back, but obviously now that's more cash flow. And then this one was, I mean, to be honest, we've come to the same conclusion that we had before, is that we're going to rebuild it in a new computer.
Yes.
But I fell into a rabbit hole of, oh, but maybe we can fix it. And I'm kind of annoyed with myself because I'd already come to the conclusion of, no, we're not fixing it. And I've basically just gone through the trauma all over again and just made myself very angry and sad in the process. So, yeah.
Well done. Good job.
Oh!
You played yourself.
Yes.
Oh.
All
Ugh.
right.
I've enjoyed this conversation in English.
I haven't.
I bloody haven't.
Yeah.
It's been awful.
I'm going home and I'm going to play Factorio and then be annoyed about my factory instead.
Excellent.
All
Very
right.
well.
Well, what's next up? It's a HP Envy and a MacBook screen. No, it's not. I'll find something else.
Next week on Two Guys Talk Tech, it's
Yeah.
HPMV and a MacBook screen.
What are
Yes.
we? Have we got any ideas for next week?
Not specifically.
Yeah.
Nothing's.
I usually
up.
come up with something on Saturday morning, really. So yeah. Yeah, nothing specifically yet. This week's video is probably going to be, I think it's going to be the failed MacBook Air video.
Done.
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 Which is failed MacBook Air video, which is a fail, but also I think it's a good autopsy because it shows the process of proving that it has a dead IMC in it.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. And I think that's interesting because it shows you how you can prove conclusively that the board is dead and thus beyond the point of saving.
Yes.
So that's kind of interesting, I think. So yeah, that one will have some value in it. What am I playing tomorrow on Twitch? Still on Sonic. We're still playing Sonic Frontiers. We're on the DLC. It will be the last Sonic stream. Yeah, the DLC has piqued my interest because it actually has some harder puzzles on it. It's actually got puzzles that are actually requiring me to be good at the game or think.
Have you found one that you can complete yet?
That's we've gotten started.
Okay.
Yeah, the DLC
I stopped watching after you had about 4 puzzles in a row you couldn't do.
couldn't do, yeah.
And I was just like,
yeah,
oh.
no, we did actually start making progress. It was a really rough start to the DLC.
I got distracted by other things.
Yeah, however, I did actually start making progress, and I got to the point where I'm just like, okay, I'm intrigued by the DLC. Let's do that.
Good.
So yeah. So yes, there'll be the last Sonic Frontiers stream. Then on Thursday I'll be making a start on Ratchet and Clank. A Rift Between Worlds? A Rift in Time?
Probably.
Rift
I think
Between
it's a Rift
Worlds?
in Time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
The new Ratchet and Clank. So yeah. That'll be fun, I guess. Good.
Oh, Rift Apart?
A Rift Apart.
Hold
That's
on.
the one.
Yeah, Rift Apart. There we go.
Yeah, Ratchet and Clank A Rift Apart.
At some point,
Yep.
remember
As such,
what the hell that's
I've
called.
enjoyed this conversation in play. We are leaving. I think Hellblade. I don't know. I've heard Hellblade, but I don't know anything about it. I will keep it in mind, though.
It is a walk. If it's the one I'm thinking of, Senua's Sacrifice, it is a walking simulator.
Ah, I see. Yeah, not super interested in walking simulators, if I'm honest. Nothing against them. I understand the purpose of them. Just not something I'm interested in playing. So yeah.
It is a story that exists entirely within the main character's mind.
Okay. Yeah.
It's incredibly good.
Okay, that's fair. I
Yes.
was about to say I'm not super into unreliable narrators, but on the other hand, it can be done right. So yeah, sure, fair enough. I'll take your word for it.
Indeed.
All right, thank you for tuning in, everyone. Sorry this one's been a bit of a suckfest, but it happens sometimes. All right, half button push. Bye.
I'd click the thing and then you started talking.